Ray Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Hey! Happy Monday!
Happy Monday!
It's officially spring. You know why I say that?
Why?
It's March.
Well,
that is the
Did not feel
meteorological
like spring this
first day of spring was yesterday, March 1st.
I guess
It had a feel like temp of 11 degrees yesterday, Jay.
But
Yeah, it was cold, but it's been sunny the last 2 days. We've got 60s for later this week.
I was going to say that. At the end of the week I saw it's
Yes.
supposed to be really warm.
And here's another reason why I say it's the beginning of spring. It's the end of hibernation because Saturday night we spring the clocks ahead an hour.
Is it really this
So
week?
we
I didn't
lose
realize
an
that.
hour sleep on Saturday.
I'll
Who
take
cares?
it. Yeah.
It's a Saturday.
Yeah.
But to me, that's when the sun starts setting at like 7:30, and then it gets closer to 8, and then finally in the summertime it's at 9, 9:30. Oh,
Ain't it the last year they're moving that?
well, they've been saying that for 10 years.
Yes.
They can't
Yes.
pull the trigger on it. I mean, when does Congress ever agree over anything? They agree on this, yet it can't get done. I don't know why.
I love the extra hour. Why?
I
would
do too.
I don't. That doesn't make any sense to me. Why?
Keep it here. I want to keep it here.
Of all things, leave that at least. Like,
Yes.
give us the extra
Yes.
hour.
You've got a story to start us off
Well,
with.
so I was in Tyvis land this weekend. I was in Columbus.
Oh, nice.
For a volleyball tournament, and Tyvis is hilarious. First of all, because he asked me where is it. I said I don't know. I got to look. So I texted him later, and I said it's at the convention center.
No
Columbus
way he
Convention
showed up.
Center. No.
Oh, okay.
No, but he goes, I don't know where that's at. I'm like,
the convention center?
It's giant in the middle of
It
downtown.
is literally the biggest structure in the state of Ohio.
I didn't realize that until I got down there.
It's
and
massive.
then I was looking at it. I'm like, Ty, how do you not know where this thing? It's like right in the middle of downtown.
It's typical Tyvis, though. I guarantee you he knows where every restaurant is around campus, and that's it. And then, where's he, Powell or Northeast?
I don't know
Columbus,
where
I
he
think.
is.
I mean, Columbus kind of big. Downtown is a whole, like, I got friends out there where I would go visit them, and we never even touched downtown.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
It's kind of big.
Well,
but did you break your glasses?
Yeah, I did. That's
oh,
all right.
Oh, no.
It's all right.
Are you blind without those?
Let's go like that. But so
There's a pair down there.
Yeah, those are mine too because I knew these were on the fritz.
Wow.
Keep a backup.
Back
Got
up.
to back up.
Backup
Got to
joint
back
at the
up.
house.
I got backup to the backup in the car if I needed.
That's great.
So we're at this hotel and tournament all weekend long, and it was just my daughter and I. It's just Ava and I. And
Yeah.
we never get alone, just the two of us. Ever.
Sure. Yeah.
So it was great. Like, we're having Chipotle, we're having Starbucks, foo drinks, we're making TikTok videos. Like, we're just having a great time, the two of us.
Dad-daughter bonding.
Dad-daughter bonding.
I love it. I love it.
So we're at the hotel. This would have been Saturday night. We're at the hotel after the games that day, and the girls are at one table, like the whole team's at one table, and the parents at the other. And all of a sudden, like, the ambulance pulls up. We're like, okay. And then all of a sudden, a fight breaks out outside. And I'm like, all right, well, apparently this is where it's at. It was two separate incidents. Somebody got pulled out of a bathroom unconscious or something. That was a rescue squad. The other one,
Wow.
this guy.
Unrelated?
Unrelated.
Okay.
This guy followed these girls into the stairwell and was being, it was
creepy.
bad.
Whoa.
It was bad. So you got this hotel. I mean, you got hundreds of girls at this hotel.
Yeah.
All 14, 15, 16 years old.
Volleyball tournament.
Yeah, volleyball
From all
tournament.
over.
And I guess like this guy was really getting creepy.
Jeez.
And the dad was ready to kill him. So they were outside ready to throw. And so there's other people, they're like separating them. So they held this guy outside until the cops showed up.
Yeah.
And we're like, and it took the cops probably 45 minutes because they said they were on a more high priority call. And then when they showed up, like 8 of them showed up. I'm like, guys, I think I know the problem here.
Yeah, right.
I don't think we need 8 for this. Probably 2 would suffice.
I think the whole force goes to every call instead of dispersing
It was
them.
like guys.
So how do you hold him? How do you hold him there?
They were like this.
Citizens arrest.
Yeah, they were just-
Citizens arrest.
How many of it was holding him?
Probably 8 to 10, just like this.
Wow.
Like, you are not leaving until
Yeah,
they get
volleyball
here.
dads can team up.
And he was against the wall. A guy was against the wall. And he wasn't fight. Like at first, he was resistant to fighting, and then he realized how outnumbered he was.
And he just chilled.
And he just chilled.
Did they arrest him? Do you know?
I don't know. I shouldn't say I don't know.
Yeah,
Citizens detained? That's wild.
Yeah.
That's
banding together. Vigilantes on the loose in Columbus.
8-on-1.
That's pretty wild.
That dude was
That
not
is
getting
creepy
away.
though. Come on. I mean, you're going to follow teenage girls into a.
And he said something to the effect of, "You want to hang out with me," or something like that. Like it was. So
not good.
You got girls that age, man, and we told all the girls, this is why we tell you,
stay
don't
together.
go alone, stay
Never.
together, go in packs, stay with us, stay around us.
Absolutely.
This is why. It was wild.
Wow,
but it was a
crazy.
great weekend. Other than that,
Good. Dad-daughter bonding, nothing better. That's great, man.
It was awesome.
That's great. All right, Mikey.
We got a big show and some breaking news this morning. Before we dive into that, make sure you guys hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, follow us on social media. You can see our handles: X, Instagram, TikTok. It is all right there. And make sure you guys stick with UCSS on social media. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button to get your ultimate UCSS fix. All right, this morning, just after 8 a.m., the Browns announced a trade, and they have got some reinforcements on the offensive line. According to Ian Rappaport, who broke the news, the Texans and Browns agreed to terms on a trade that will send starting right tackle Tytus Howard to Cleveland in exchange for a fifth-round pick. The Browns, obviously, some much-needed offensive line help. Plus, they extended Howard on a new 3-year, $63 million extension. He was entering the final year of his contract, so we're waiting on the details to see if that is just new money on this year plus 2 more years or if it's 3 years beyond. We'll get those details in a second, but G. Bush, your initial reaction to the Browns acquiring a starting caliber offensive lineman in Tytus Howard?
This is what I'm talking about. Project Stockpile has begun. You get a guy who
With what we got one.
we got one.
We got one.
You got to start somewhere.
Got to start somewhere.
You got to start somewhere. Listen, he's a starting caliber tackle. He's played some guard. He's a starter for the Texans. You take a look at what he's able to do. He has some versatility there. But if you're going to get a starting caliber tackle who is playing for a team that was in the playoffs, and you get it for a 5th-round pick, I love it because now, you can look at it, and we talked about not being able to count on DeJuan Jones. We talked about needing gaps and phases all up and down the line of scrimmage. Now, has Joe Bitonio retired yet?
Not yet.
No.
Okay. So,
But do we think he's leaning one way or the other? To me, I feel like he's leaning towards retiring.
I mean, I thought it was a foregone conclusion.
That's why I say
the
he's
fact that he
leaning
even
that
extended it out tells me there's at least a chance, but I would still tend to lean toward retirement.
Well, you take a look at this. This is a very, very, very nice move. Now, you need some other things to go along with it, but you take a look at the tackle position, and we looked at the free agent tackle group. There's a tackle available from the Packers, but I mean, he's average. I mean, he actually, to be truthful, when it comes to the run blocking, he's below average. But this is a nice move because now it frees up your flexibility. And I've been talking to my dad and my brother. They're big Buckeye fans all weekend. They've been entrenched in the Buckeye, the Buckeye lore.
Combine.
Listen, they about
setting records.
They about I say, bro, it's too late to buy the Ohio State Arvell Reese and what's the name Styles jerseys now. They're done. Yeah. They're like, nah, we need to figure a way to get up there. There's a whole lot of people that have been enamored by some of those defensive players. Now, I told them, look, it all depends on what they do in free agency. I didn't think it was going to be some tackles available in free agency that could be starting level tackles that should be worth that money. But when you can go out and make a trade for a 5th-round pick and you got a guy that I think you can plug in and start, man, you probably asked me what the grade is on a poll on the website in the chat. I got it a B+. I like it a lot. They're going to need some other things. They're going to figure out what's going on with the other guard position. But in terms of the risk reward and what he's been able to do for the compensation given up, I'll take it.
It's a flyer, 5th-round pick. I mean, we've got some draft capital.
Yeah.
So I think it's, I don't think I wouldn't order your playoff tickets, but I do think that it's a move that they have to make because they've got nobody on the offensive line. Nobody. So if you can get a guy for a 5th-round pick that can play in the NFL, it seems to me like it's a pretty good wash. I'm a little concerned why Houston would let him go. I imagine they just have one or two spots to fill on their offensive line. Mike, you have info on that?
Yeah, Aaron Wilson, who covers the Texans, said that he's entering the final year of his deal. They drafted a replacement right tackle last year in the draft, and they needed to clear some cap space to give extensions to Will Anderson and some of the other guys coming up. So it was less of a performance thing.
That's the good answer.
More of a money thing.
Yeah, that's the good answer. And because I knew he had 1 year left, I figured that was it. Now, obviously, if he was a guy that they wanted to make sure they kept, they would extend him. But they didn't. And, I think he's going to probably start for us. Who else are we going to play? I'd be lying if I said I know anything about him as a player. I don't.
Yeah.
Just other than looking at his grades, which seems to me, Mike, would you say he is middle of the pack overall?
Yeah, he's middle of the pack, a good pass block.
But he's got a really good pass block grade.
Yeah, and he's a converted tight end. He was a tight end in college.
I like that. That's athleticism. And I like the fact that you can plug and play him in any spot except for left tackle. That seems to be the place that he hasn't played. So I like the versatility. I like that we picked up a starter for a 5th-round draft pick. If you can trade a 5th-round draft pick for a known starter, Jay, I think that's a pretty good deal.
I'd rather have a veteran tackle than a rookie in the 5th round. If you're going to burn a 5th-round pick on
hell, look what happened to our 1st-round guy.
Yeah.
There's no guarantees.
Every time the Browns trade with the Texans, I go,
no, we've built an empire for them down there.
Trade with Jacksonville all you want. They do great with Jacksonville.
Yeah, that's true.
Houston, it doesn't seem to work out so great. But, listen, you had to do something. I don't think you can count on DeJuan for a whole year. I'm most curious about what this does for the draft and how you approach the draft with that 6th pick now, because I don't think you're drafting a right tackle.
Let me tell you this.
No, but they need multiple guys on the front.
We were going to get into this because McNuggets talked about the offensive line.
Yeah, we definitely are.
I've been in the lab looking at these tackles, and
there's some good ones.
I like him, but I definitely have more reservations about him being a tackle now than I did a day ago.
Why?
Or a couple of days ago.
Because of the combine?
No, just more in depth in his film work. I just think his lateral mobility as a tackle is going to be tough. I think he's going to have problem getting dealing with speed rushers. He has good power. He has good functional strength, but he plays a high a lot. And I just think he gets pulled. I think his balance isn't all the way there. I do think his body type screams, let me play guard, because he can get away with that inside, right? So, I have my... You're
not going to take a guard that high, though.
It's tough.
You're just not going to do it.
Taking a guard at 6 is tough. So this, to me, and I'll just say this about Andrew Bear and the Cleveland Browns. Let me be honest with you. They can do a number of things. I don't know what the heck they're going to do.
Trading down is an option, isn't it?
They could trade back. They could take they could trade back. But maybe one of these defenders that they may fall in love with. I learned my lesson last year from Mason Graham. They said receiver, offensive line. Well, they took an offensive lineman and right tackle. I don't know who they got to pencil in left tackle, but, you take a look at free agencies coming along. But, yeah, I think this really takes tackle off the board at 6.
Yeah, that feels like it does.
Well, I actually disagree. We're going to get to that in a sec. But one other thing with this before we pivot to the combine and the stuff you're kind of getting to, G. Tytus Howard last year played right tackle, right guard, and left guard. If you look at his career snaps, he's played 3,515 snaps at right tackle and 1,800 snaps at left guard, and then a couple sprinkled in at left tackle and right guard. Never played a snap at center.
Right.
It does give you a little versatility that if DeJuan Jones comes back and is healthy,
he
gives you the flexibility to put your best 5 offensive linemen on the field
true.
at once, which the Browns need because they don't even have 5 offensive linemen under contract right now. So when you build out your offensive line, whether Tytus is penciled in as your right tackle, he's only played 200 snaps in his entire career and hasn't played left tackle since 2021. So probably not a guy you put at left tackle, but at least
it sounds like that's
the
not
fact
an
that
option.
he's played guard and he's played more snaps at left guard significantly than any other position besides right tackle. You have the versatility to kind of plug in place to get your 5 best offensive linemen out there, regardless of the orientation of the line.
It just feels to me that because there are so many holes on the line, and we know we need wide receivers, that draft capital is going to be a real thing. If you can trade down and pick up an extra pick, I think it's a smart move.
Yeah.
And I know typically I don't like that, and it seems like that's been a pattern for the Browns.
It is a pattern.
And in the past, I've not loved it every time they've done it, but they have done it sometimes where it works.
There's a difference in philosophy and execution. And the philosophy, I agree with the philosophy.
Yeah, but now you got to make good on the picks.
You got to pick the right guys.
That's exactly right.
And they did last year.
They did.
For the most part, they had a great draft.
Yeah.
So I love what they did last year. I would not be opposed if they trade down again from 6. I mean, it's all about value, and it depends on what the other team's coming up to get. But I mean, we talked about this like last year. Eric DeCosta was talking about it, the Ravens GM, who basically said the draft is a crapshoot, and I want as many darts as possible, and it doesn't matter where they're at.
Yeah.
Just give me the darts.
I agree.
And
I don't
have to
really
go back
want
and
them
find that
6th or
clip
7th
again.
round.
Well, sure.
Because at that point, those are guys you may be able to sign as free agents. But if you can get 5th and above, really 4th and above,
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Especially when you hit on last year's draft. Andrew Berry has to be feeling a little more confident going into this year's draft than he has ever before. And again, we've talked about why they had success in the draft last year. Was DePodesta less a part of it than he had been in years before, and he saw the writing on the wall for him, and that's why he left? It's a theory. I don't know if it's true or not, but I can't explain why Berry had been well below average in all of his drafts prior to last year. And last year he hit it out of the park.
Yeah, I think if you're a guy who is a best available guy on the board, that's your philosophy. You just want the best players available. This move sets up a little better that you can possibly see a wide variety of names that may be in play for the Cleveland Browns, especially given the fact that if you can get if you get a receiver in free agency or you make another trade and shore up another position on the offensive line, I think that'll tell us exactly what their thought process is on the draft. For me, at the top of the draft for the offensive linemen, there's 3 up there, three or 4 in there, but then there's a drop. And when you get to the second day type guys, so if they feel like okay, there's a high drop or there's a drop considerably, maybe they go with another position. We haven't even talked about the infamous how fast does Carnel Tate run?
Oh, we're getting there. We're getting there.
I think that was shocking on the wrong end.
Right.
And then Styles was shocking on the other end.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
some of those 40 times, I felt like I was watching a trek meet.
I have a theory on that. One other thing real quick before we get to the combine.
Wow, are they
the
fast.
Texans have just traded a second offensive lineman today. They've traded Juice, Scruggs, and a 4th-round pick to the Lions for David Montgomery. Last week we looked up the offensive line rankings. Just based off of PFF, it's just one calculation. They had the Texans as the 27th best offensive line in football last year, and they've now traded 2 starters off that line. So I don't know what that says, but I just wanted to throw it out there as Tytus Howard is not the only offensive lineman they have traded today.
C.J. Stroud went in the office like, they got to go. You got me looking crazy in New England.
Well, it looks like we know what they're going to do with their draft, too, now.
Certainly looks that way. All right, let's get to a little combine talk. We're going to start with the offensive lineman of the combine. Quick reminder, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Help us get UCSS out to as many people as humanly possible, and you can do that by hitting the like button and hitting the subscribe button. All right, we got a couple different combine topics to dive into. But, G, you started with the offensive lineman at the combine, and I want to dive in on that first because I kind of have a differing opinion to what you said on the fact that you think tackle is out of play now for the Browns. Tytus Howard has played right tackle. He's played right guard. There is only one guy, really 2, but one guy at number 6 that is a traditional, unquestioned, undeniable left tackle. When you look at the top tackles on the board, Spencer Fano is a right tackle. Caleb Lomu from Utah, he has played left tackle, but is not projected to go anywhere near the top 10. Caden Proctor played left tackle, not necessarily a guy considered that high for the Browns. Malioga, right tackle, guard, you can make the decision. And then the guy you see next, Monrone Freeling from Georgia, has only played left tackle, is a traditional left tackle. If you look at his RAS score, and Steve, if you want to take tag for it full, he ranked out as the just flat out disgusting good in terms of the RAS score, the relative athletic score. He's the 3rd highest out of 1,500 graded tackles they've ever had at the combine. Fits all the physical makeups, the height, the size, the weight, the arm length, et cetera, et cetera. I think it takes him out of the play for right tackle. I certainly think they're still in play for a left tackle. But, G, I'll let you start on this one again because you mentioned Malioga a second ago. He measured in at pure tackle size. Freeling measured in at gigantic tackle size. You think because of this trade they're more off the board than before, or do you still think they could be in play for the Browns as they look to continue to fill out the offense?
No, I think Freeling is definitely going to be a late first-round pick. I think he was borderline to me, but I think that when you look at Proctor, I think now that there's people that would likely have him above Proctor at tackle. When you take a look at what he was able to do, 6'7", long arms, ran tremendously well. He's one of the best pass blockers. The problem is he's not a great, he's not going to deliver a lot of movement up front. But when you look at Fano and when you look at this young man, there's a difference between, you look at Fano, and the thing that gets me with him is he's slight of build in his lower body. Like they got him listed at about 310, but he just looks like, he looks like when I'm watching him play, he's 285. Now he is aggressive when it comes to him coming off the football, but sometimes he's over aggressive a little bit, and there are times where, he can get overextended a little bit. But the problem is with Fano as well, he doesn't get much movement. He's more of a position blocker where he's just going to look to get on the outside of you and just stay in this gap. He's not going to be a guy that you look to, hey, it's 4th and 1, let's run behind him and get 2 yards. That's not what's going to happen. He's more of a position blocker. So to me, in my opinion, it's not a great tackle class. But when you look at this guy, when you look at Freeling, I think he's moved himself in a position because he is a very good pass blocker, because he does do a really good job, and he plays in the SEC, and he's gone against some of the elite pass rushers. I do believe that he's moved himself into the late first round. And then the guard, I think there's a chance a guard does go. The guard from Penn State, what is Olavioga? What is his name? How you pronounce his name?
Malioga?
No. The kid, the Penn State guard, starts with an O.
Olu. I'm just calling him Olu.
Oh, okay, we go Olu, right? Y'all got to come out and give us these pronunciations earlier, bro. I don't know, this is crazy, but
I think there's one on the NFL website.
Yeah, I got to check that out.
NFL website has one for the draft prospect.
I think he's a guard. I think he's the best guard by far, and I actually think that he'll go in the first round. But McNuggets, if they do find a guy that they like, I like the Dunker kid from Iowa. He's not much of an athlete.
Did you see his 40?
Yeah, he was running. Did you see his hair?
Yeah, well, I saw somebody on social media put his 40 with Freebird and said these two were just meant to go together. Because when you hear, and it was in slow motion, but when you hear Freebird with his hair flying and the look on his face, you're like, that's not wrong.
Hey, I like him a lot. He's a mauler. I would like him at guard, but yeah, I think I don't know if I like anybody that high in the first part of this draft, but I think Freeling will definitely go first round.
I'm leery of the workout warriors guys.
We talked about that Friday, yeah.
And you guys remember Vernon Golston, right?
Yeah, we mentioned him. Yeah.
He was a guy that everybody said, oh, he'll tear it up at the next level.
He was supposed to be Myles Garrett, right?
He was supposed to be. He was like a top 5 pick. Oh my God! When you looked at him, it was
smuggling
like
pumpkins.
He's not a human being.
Yeah.
He came out of a laboratory. I think it was the 6th pick.
I covered him at Ohio State. That's what I was covering.
Yes,
I was Ohio State beat
and
writer.
I was very familiar with him from Ohio State as well. And then something happened, man. He literally might have invented the looks like Tarzan plays like Jane, because it didn't take him long. And there's been other guys like that. You guys probably won't remember, but Tony Mandrich is a guy. Mandrich was an absolute can't miss, humongous human being that when you watched him do all of his physical drills, you said, oh, this guy will be the gold standard for years in the NFL. And he didn't make it. And there are a lot of other examples like
there
that.
There are a few that have panned out, though.
What's that?
There are a few that have looked like physical specimens who have panned out.
At that position, I think the hit rate is much higher at that position than maybe any other position.
At tackle?
Well, just because
busted tackles can play guard usually.
Yes, you can. Like if you're a bust,
you get something out of them.
Yes, there's somewhere you can move them and get some value out of them. And also, they usually have to raise to such a level of greatness, like Joe Thomas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you're not taking Joe Thomas in the top 3 unless you absolutely know.
Yeah,
and so I think the bust rate at that position, that high, is actually fairly low. It might be the lowest amongst all positions. And that's subjective too, because what's a bust?
What's a bust?
But to your point, and this is where I was going too, if you bust out at tackle, we can move you. Maybe you're a right tackle, maybe you're a guard, so there's flexibilities and there's layers that you can fall down and still have a long, productive, successful career. So I don't know what I'm looking for to the extent that you do when I look at tape. I watch these tapes. To me, you know what? We're seeing highlights. Mm-hmm. They all look great.
Yeah.
I don't want to see the highlights. Give me 20 random plays.
The low lights.
Give me 20 random plays, and maybe he'll look great, and maybe he won't. But to me, when I'm on YouTube and I'm searching for X players' highlights, I'm like, I'll draft that guy this second.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the Browns are doing too.
And then you look at the next one and go, give me him too. And the
Yes.
next one, give me him too.
Because they're highlights.
You're right.
So give me their random plays. Give me their, there are analytics, the grade rates and all of that. But be wary of the workout warriors and the guys that just make your eyes fall out of your head. But then the tape doesn't always follow through.
Jason, I'd be interested to talk to their scouting department in the front office to see what their philosophy is on offensive linemen. Do they have it do they believe that most of these guys, if you coach them up, they can be serviceable? Or do they really believe that there's only a couple of really top-notch tackles, and if you find one of them, you just take them? But other than that, because I watch these guys, there's tackles from Division II schools. You watch these great teams, and you turn the tape on or you watch the TV, and it's Monday Night Football, and they're like, where he come from? Oh, he went to Saginaw State.
Right.
The left tackle is starting. He went from Purdue. I'm like, what?
In the old days, you could get the Jackson States, you could get the Walter Paytons and Jerry Rices, but here's where I'm leery of that today. You could transfer. Why didn't you leave?
Yeah.
Like in the old days, you'd have to sit out a year. Guys weren't willing to do that. And so then, it was the same thing with Steve McNair. They're like, well, I don't know. What kind of competition does Alcorn State really face? I don't know. Joe Flacco experienced that. And so in the old days, I felt there was a calculus to drafting a guy that was one of the smaller divisions. Mm-hmm. Because look, a lot of times guys at 18 can come out and they're tweeners, and then they blossom and they grow and they dominate at North Dakota State because it was too difficult to transfer. But today, I'm looking at all of those really small schools and said, well, wait a minute, why were you still there?
Yeah.
You should have been offered millions if it was there. You should have been offered millions to go to a Power 5.
That's a fair.
And you didn't.
I think that's a fair point. I also think we're so early into this still of NIL that I think these colleges are still trying to figure out what do we need, what do we want, who do we get. So there's always going to be guys who fall through the cracks, always, no matter what. But we can take this. I don't want to get too far off track, but that's what makes recruiting so difficult now. There are no seats at the table for freshmen. You have to be special to get a shot at Ohio State as a freshman now.
Yep.
Because why would Ohio State take a freshman? Why would they burn a spot on a freshman when you can
go get a known commodity?
Go get a transfer.
Man, Absolutely. I knew it was a problem. OU had like 20-something transfers. And a lot of these freshmen, I would look at them like, oh man, usually you don't find them getting a bunch of the guys that's all state or guys that even be all American. Like, wow, this guy from this recruiting site says this dude is a top 10 guy in this position. Well, there's not enough places to go around at the table now. Everything is upperclassmen.
Yeah, it's really changed.
So Kaz Merrick from OU, he went to Ohio State, ran in the combine. He got invited to the combine. He went from OU to Ohio State. And I'm like, wow, like it's crazy that it happens like that. But we'll look at it like this: there's a safety from Toledo that's going to get taken high. There was this corner that was taken from Toledo a couple years ago, and obviously the poster child is Harold Fanning Jr.
Sure,
like shoot,
Harold, he could have left. He could have left after his junior year and gone anywhere.
He could have went, but he ended up staying. I'm glad he stayed because we found him. But yeah, I think now. I'd love to be a fly on the wall to see what their board looks like on offensive linemen because I think it's really jumbled together. I don't see anybody really separating themselves too much. So
to your earlier point, if you've got a special guy at the top, take it. But I think for the most part, a lot of these guys can be coached up to be average.
Especially at that position, right? Like that position is a technical position. Yeah. It's a lot about the coaching that you've been given to this point. If they didn't feel they were getting great coaching at that position in college, and coaches do have egos. They're Father Flanagan's. Wow, I turned him into a player. Yeah. Some they can, some they can't.
I'm slowly, man, it was messed up. I hate to admit it. This is crazy. I would have talked about 17 people. They even called me watching these drafts. And I don't know if Jay Crawford is out here texting these people on an independent chain, but they sound a lot like him. They keep saying the pendulum is swung. Right now, defense is the hot thing.
Oh, no, it has.
Right now, defense, if you get defense is back in vogue, you might not stop everybody down, but when you talk about the defensive line and how the athletes there, the safeties that are now playing more like corners, locking people up.
Right.
The linebackers are running 4-4. Like the defense.
Some of the defensive guys' times over the weekend were unbelievable.
Did you guys see maybe it was in our group chat. Maybe that's where I saw it, so I guess then you would have. All the Ohio State receivers and then Sonny Styles, and Sonny was faster than all the receivers.
Oh, yeah.
Was that in our chat? Is that where I saw it?
I
don't think so. I saw it somewhere else, and I didn't read everything.
Well, Sonny Styles, his brother, Lorenzo Styles, ran even faster than Sonny did.
He ran like a 4.32. Right.
Well, look, his dad was a great player at Ohio State.
I remember him.
He wasn't a great player in the NFL. But did win a Super Bowl.
Craig Powell
and Lorenzo Styles. I covered those guys back in the day. They were silver bullets. That was a hell of a defense. That had Sean Springs. That had Mike Vrabel. Finkus. That was a hell of Katzenmoyer.
What was that 90?
96 maybe?
Katzenmoyer would have been after
that.
Katzenmoyer, I think Katzenmoyer was a freshman when Vrabel was a senior. Don't quote me on that.
That sounds about right.
I just remember when I covered Andy Katzenmoyer in high school. I think he was Westerville South or North.
South.
And boys, I am not exaggerating. Man. This is going to sound like a gas. I covered a lot of high school football because I worked 5 years in Columbus, 5 years in Tampa, and we went big on high school football coverage. I have never seen a high school running back better than Andy Katzenmoyer.
Oh,
and it was funny to watch because he came through the line and he looked like an oak tree. Yeah. And he ran up and down, but he was kids were falling off of him like it was unbelievable.
That was the heyday. That was the heyday of high school football. Like I was, in the 90s, that put me like 9 or 10, but these dudes is household names. They had him and Kajana Carter came through in Columbus.
Same time.
And I was like, same
time.
If you guys want to watch, go watch Andy Katzenmoyer.
As a high school kid.
His freshman year at Ohio State.
He could have
played neck roll.
He could have played in the NFL. I had guys tell me that were NFL players at the time. He'd be a Pro Bowl linebacker in the NFL right now.
Big Cat was so crazy. Like this dude was running down. I remember who he hit.
Corby Jones. Corby Jones of Missouri. I was at the game. You know where my stand-up was after the game? In the divot that he left in the field. If you want to YouTube this, go YouTube it. Andy Katzenmoyer, Corby Jones, Missouri. He hit him so hard, he left a crater in the football field. It was like this deep. I stood on it for my stand-up at the end of the game. It was unbelievable.
He hit him on the hash and ended up on the sideline. I said he knocked him from the hash to the sideline. The
Missouri fans. Now, and Missouri had a good team that year, by the way. Corby Jones was a good player.
Then they had the defensive end.
The Missouri fans, it kind of went from, like when a home team gets dunked on?
Yeah.
You're like, I shouldn't be cheering that, but I cannot help but cheer that. That's what the mood was in the stadium after that hit, because it was just like, no one had ever seen anything like it, so they're like, we got to applaud that.
Was that at Missouri? Was that on the road?
It was at Missouri.
I remember they had the home and home with Missouri.
Yeah.
It was one of the... It was one of them teams.
That was a great hit.
One of them teams you just didn't never see on TV like that. Back then, you wasn't getting no other Midwest teams and that. Like, so when Ohio State, I remember they played a home and home. I think it was at the Bowl when they played Texas A&M, because they had Dat and Wynn, I think, playing for Texas A&M.
That was a bowl game, I think.
And was it major? They had a nice little scat running back. That might have been a bowl game.
I think it was.
That might have been a bowl game.
I don't think they've ever been down there, and I don't remember them.
It was a Sugar Bowl, matter of fact.
Yeah.
It was a Sugar Bowl. Yep.
Well, let's talk about an Ohio State player next. Excuse me,
Mike
guys. Carnel Tate's been somebody who has been in conversation for the 6th pick with Cleveland, as Jay shows off some highlights that unfortunately we cannot show here. on UCSS. The 40 times for the receivers were as fast as they've ever been on average this year. The average 40-yard dash for a receiver was a 4.44. That's the fastest in the history of the Combine since they started tracking this in 2003. The fastest receiver times you can see on your screen there. Brennan Thompson, Mississippi State, ran a 4.26. Xavier Thomas from LSU ran a 4.28. Deion Burks from Oklahoma ran a 4.3. Jeff Caldwell from Cincinnati, a 4.31. Bryce Lance, the younger brother of Trey Lance, ran a 4.34. Then you see Carnel Tate did not rank anywhere near the top. He ran a official 4.53 40-yard dash. Jason, I know it's, as some people like to call it, the underwear Olympics. But that was a slower time than expected for Carnel Tate, and certainly not near the top of the receiver speed list. Does that take him out of play for the Browns at number 6, or should we just look at the tape and ignore a silly 40-yard
Yeah, it better not. It better not take him out of the conversation. Honestly, the play, I forget what game it was, when he had the alligator arms. That was a bigger concern for me than whatever.
I agree with you, yeah.
But he'll run again in Columbus. I'm sure he'll put up a better time than that.
And it'll be faster.
Yeah, but I mean, just for me, it's always the tape for me. And we talked about last week, Ohio State receivers are like FANG stocks. That's Facebook, Apple, Netflix, Google. Those guys rarely bust. So if you can get an Ohio State receiver at the top of the draft, chances are it's going to turn out well for you. So is it concerning? I wouldn't go so far as to say concerning.
Does their blind spot at that position factor into it at all? And I ask that because if you've taken a lot of wide receivers and they've done well, then you have a pretty high confidence level of pulling that off.
Yeah.
But because they've had such a blind spot in this regime at wide receivers, do you think that changes the calculus at all?
How would it change it? In terms of what?
That there is a question on this. Like if he'd run a 4.4, then I don't think there's any concerns at all. But there's a red flag on the kid. And I'm just wondering if Andrew Berry has the onions to pull trig on this kid after there's already a concern.
So what if he goes to Columbus and runs a 4.4?
That's different.
Yeah.
And I think he will be faster. I just don't think he'll be that much faster.
Yeah. What would he have to? What was he? 4.5?
4.53, and he ran it again and was exactly the same 4.53.
Yeah.
So
so what's he have to run for you to feel comfortable with?
Low 4.4s.
Man, if he come out there and run a 4.47, thumbs up.
Yeah.
I mean that's 0.6. It's faster, but
I think
6/100ths. I'm sorry.
But this is the thing, you always get messed up. First of all, yes, I think it.
Don't get me wrong, I like him.
No,
I like him.
It is.
Don't know if I like him at 6.
It is. It is something to be said about the fact that the Browns, have not done a good job. If one of my main criticisms, of Andrew Berry, is I hate his receiving. I hate his receiver profile. I hate it.
It's an F. It's an F-.
I don't like the smallish receivers that really can't hold on to the football.
Right.
Like I just don't. That's not my MO. So
I mean, David Bell, Anthony Schwartz. There's others I'm missing. There's another one that I've.
What's the dude from Louisville? They just got him.
Thrash.
Yeah,
Thrash.
like his hit rate is. Hey, Mike, just for a little exercise, I'm curious about this. Can you call up the top 5 wide receiver times from the Combine in 22? And I only ask that as an exercise because I'm curious. Anecdotally, in my mind, it's not the burners that have great success in the NFL. Not to say that these guys aren't fast, they are. But I don't think any of them were the fastest. I could be wrong.
Yeah. Well,
Jackson,
go ahead.
Okay, what were they?
In 2022.
Yeah, I don't know what he got back.
I got the Combine database up.
All right.
Tyquan Thornton
Okay.
ran a 4.28.
All right.
He's been a solid pro.
Okay.
I actually kind of that was my guy for a free agent pickup for the Browns or for a
but
candidate.
I think it's safe to say he hasn't been a superstar.
No,
No.
he hasn't.
He hasn't been a star.
And for the record, he's better than the next 4.
All right.
Okay.
Velus Jones from Tennessee ran a 4.31.
Nah.
Calvin Austin the third.
Nah.
I believe he's on the Steelers now.
Only receiver I know
He
that's
is.
Calvin is Johnson.
He is on the Steelers.
He ran a 4.32.
Nah.
Danny Gray from SMU.
Don't know him.
Ran a 4.33. I interviewed Danny Gray when he was at Blinn College. Hope Danny's doing well.
Good.
And
Shout out, Danny.
Bo Melton from Rutgers ran
Okay,
a 4.34.
so in this little exercise, which I had no idea how it was going to turn out, I think you could pick any year. In this little exercise, I think what we've what we can deduce from it, very small sample size, is that there are a lot of attributes that make great players. At wide receiver, there are a lot.
Yeah.
I think chief among them are hands and route running.
Yes.
And then I think it's speed. And so to your point, I've seen enough of Carnel Tate. I watched the tape. I watched every down of his career. This kid can play the position. So I hope that the slower 40 time doesn't dissuade the Browns, even though I bring up the fact that I think it is a red flag. But these guys, the fastest combine wide receivers, in my mind, I can't think that they automatically translate to great, successful wide receivers.
Yeah, no, that's fair, but at the same time, like what held Brian Robisky back? I think it was his lack of speed.
Well, now listen.
And David Bell.
If you're a 4.7 guy, that's a different story. He wasn't. A 4.5, I think that's on the slower end of fast.
Yeah.
The
A
average
4.7
this season was 4.4.
What's that?
The average at the combine this season was a 4.44 for receivers.
Yes. So he's a tenth of a second almost slower. So that's why I say he's on the slow end of fast.
Yeah.
I would rather be on the slow end of fast than the fast end of slow, which is where Robisky was, and there have been other guys that came out 4.7.
Jarvis Landry. Jarvis Landry was running like a 4.7.
Yeah, Jarvis was not fast.
But if you can run
That's why
routes,
you never know, man.
No,
it's
you
so
never.
hard.
Jerry Rice wasn't a burner.
It's so hard. It's not like you can say he's got this, and this. He's going to work.
Right.
Because you can line up two guys next to each other that have the same metrics. One guy can play and one can't.
Yeah, and there's no metric to measure this.
Yeah.
And Tyreek Hill was a guy who had success with great speed, but I think that if you line up the best, I don't remember what Jamar's 40 time was. He was fast, but I don't think he was probably in the top 5 of his class.
Oh, no, he was. I got him all up right here.
Okay,
yeah.
what are they?
Jamar Chase was the third fastest
what was
receiver
his
that
40
year.
time?
4.34.
Ooh, that's quick, man.
Yeah.
Do you know who was the fastest that year?
That was a good year for wide receivers, wasn't it?
It was 2021, and I'll give you 10 seconds because it's Browns related.
Schwartz.
Yep.
Yeah, Anthony Schwartz.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think the
that
thing about
work out?
Carnel Tate is, you talk about people and being fast. Well, he always seemed to be getting behind somebody. He was always behind. He was behind the defense against Michigan. He was behind the defense against Big Ten schools. No matter where it was, he got behind Texas. He makes big plays. He has great long speed. Now, the thing that I like about him is he's smooth, man. Yeah. Like this dude run every route on the field. He can run the bang 8. He can run the go route. He can run the slant. He goes over the middle. He can run the dig route. And the thing about him, there was, he had the thing with the catching in traffic against Miami. But you go back and watch him, not just this year, but go back and watch him last year. He makes pro type catches where he's catching the ball here, he's tucking it away, and he's got his feet in bounds no matter where he is. His body control is awesome, and it looks like when he's running, he could be running any route, but he breaks it off, and it's very good. I mean, he's the quintessential I'm a pro.
Could you imagine if Smith was eligible to come out?
Oh man,
the top of the draft, Ohio State would have guys littered in the first round.
Ryan Day.
And they didn't get to the championship.
Ryan Day, bro, you tripping. What?
It's insane.
How you lose that?
Insane, the talent they had.
You had crazy talent. Now
reminds me of those John Cooper teams that couldn't beat Michigan.
Now,
I mean, he had Eddie George, Terry Glenn,
David Boston,
Corey Stringer,
Ricky, who was the tight end?
Orlando Pace.
Ricky Dudley, Orlando Pace. That team and he couldn't beat Michigan.
You just couldn't. Now, I think that I'll commend him for running the 40 because Jordan Tyson didn't run and Mekhi Lemon didn't run.
And now more dudes aren't going to run.
I know, unfortunately.
And I know Mekhi Lemon is slower than Tate. I know he going to run. He
has his own draft question.
Right. Hey, listen, let me just Mekhi Lemon.
He should have run.
Hey, let me tell you this, man. This dude is he's one of them.
He's different.
He's
different.
He's one of them dudes that if you go into a street fight, give me Mekhi Lemon. He can come with me. Like, he looks like he is not playing at all. He looks like he's affiliated. He's plugged in on the street level. But I mean,
is he an LA kid? Do you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's born and raised LA.
He's
he raised some red flags.
Man,
for sure.
boy, he's a great football player.
He's from LA.
When I read a lot this weekend about some of the comments about him, I thought, well, there you go. Browns are going to take him number 6.
Hey, listen,
there's your Browns draft pick.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you what. The thing about Mekhi Lemon, he can play special teams. He doesn't play like that chip. He talks off the field. He's a very calm dude on the field. On the field, he catches the ball back to the huddle. He catches the rock back to the receiver. He can go over the middle. He's tough. He comes down with 50-50 balls. He can run every single route. He's one of them dudes that if you go and he gets drafted by the Rams or the 49ers, he's going to be a nightmare.
Yeah, in the Ram system especially. Oh my! You're right. Both those systems.
He will be an absolute terror, and you're going to be like, why?
But
did we
you
pass
put him in
on
the wrong system, and he could be a nightmare for a different reason.
Now he could. Now look, I haven't. I will say this: if you come away with either
I think the Jets or Browns are definitely taking
Tyson, Tate, or Lemon, I'll be fine with it. Yeah. But
are we locked in wide receiver at 6?
No.
Or we're not even sure about that?
I don't think nothing. No,
I don't mean the Browns. I mean what you guys want.
No.
I haven't made my decision either.
I ain't really locked because
let's see what happens.
Got a long way to go.
Tell you.
We could plug. Yeah, we got a long way to go, and we could plug some holes before we get to the draft. We could make some more trades. You never know.
And people are slowly. I don't know if it's proper. Y'all trying to talk me into this defensive player, but the more they keep doing around that, you may say, oh, all right, well, if you take care of some of this other stuff, it's easier to
there's plenty of ways to fill needs.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be but again, I've been pretty consistent. The only way you take a defensive player at 6 is if you think he's going to camp
better be
one
cold.
day.
Right? Yeah.
Like that's it.
He better be a Hall of Famer.
Cold.
The other thing from the combine we have to address is the quarterbacks. And the Browns are not in play for a quarterback at 6. At least we don't believe they are in play for a quarterback at number 6. But some of the guys projected to go in the later rounds of the NFL draft made a statement, made themselves some money based off, once again, the underwear Olympics. A guy like Tate Green, for example, if you were unfamiliar with him beforehand, he certainly jumped up a ton of boards.
Yeah.
Weighed in at 6'6", 227, ran a 4.37 40-yard dash, set the combine vertical jump record for quarterbacks with a 43.5-inch vertical jump. He broad jumped 11 feet 2 inches. That was also a combine record. Threw the ball pretty well. G, when you looked at the quarterbacks on Saturday, I know they're hard to evaluate, throwing the receivers they haven't played with, yada, 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 yada. Did anyone open your eyes in he might be in play for the Browns with a late day 3 pick just to add into the quarterback competition, or did nobody kind of catch your eye in that sense?
No, well, I do think it's funny because you look at you take a look at what Todd Monken was talking about, and it's funny how many different people, because he was at Georgia and him recruiting people, how many of these guys like Cade Klubnik he knew, or Nussmeier he knew. Carson Beck is a guy.
He played against Tate Green.
Right, Tate Green. So these guys, I do think those guys will go. I think those guys will go a lot higher than what you may naturally think based on their tape, because they are names. They are household names that people have been scouting and looking at, and these guys were taking a look at them. And so you go back, and what the scouting department will do is say, all right, we've done our homework on these guys since they were sophomores and juniors, right? And some people are going to come in and say, their junior tape, you go look at their junior tape, it's spectacular. And then you get to the senior year and you're like, oh, there's some things that are a little off. But people are going to go back and reference that junior tape, and somebody will talk themselves and fall in love with the fact that, oh, okay, I like him a little bit. I think guys like Nussmeier, people say, oh, 5th or 6th. I think those guys will get pushed up a little bit. I think you could see him maybe go in the 3rd round. You could see now Aller, I thought he threw the ball. I thought he was a little inconsistent. I think his drop, because of his ankle, he still needs to work on that a little bit. Yeah. But just by the size, I think there's going to be some teams that'll take him.
That size is intoxicating. It was coming out of Menor or wherever he played, Medina. People were infatuated with that size. Yeah.
I think Ty Simpson, I think he's pushed himself like in the late, early second, late first. Like if you
doesn't Simpson have a connection to Monken too?
And
His dad and Monken are
their
friends.
fathers were.
I think teams like say for instance the Steelers. If you're the Steelers, like, and you Mike McCarthy, you're like, okay, I don't know what's going on with Aaron Rodgers. And you picking at the end of the draft like that, end of the first round. I mean, there's somebody that'll talk themselves into it. I thought he threw the ball pretty well at the combine. And he was a little taller than I thought he would be. And I think he's the clear second like quarterback at this point.
It feels that way.
At this point.
I think Ty Simpson's the first round pick. Because it's not going to be a one quarterback first round. So I think somebody's taking him in the first. Almost never.
Somebody gonna make the move. Somebody will do it, especially if you have a little, like I say Mike McCarthy. I mean, it's his first year. He got a little house money. Like you want to come in and try to figure out, see what you're gonna do. They took what's his name?
Quarterback, Ohio State quarterback.
Yeah, they took Howard. So. They got a couple.
And they
young
really
dudes
never
there.
got a chance to look at him.
Right.
I mean, he was hurt, and then I don't think he played, but maybe a handful of snaps, if that. He wasn't even their backup because when Rodgers went down,
he just didn't. So and it's a new coach. It's a fresh start. So who knows? We'll see what Mike McGee's a quarterback guy. We'll see what McCarthy likes. But I do think somebody will take Ty Simpson in the first round. Taylor Green, I think, is very intriguing. He reminds me of Jalen Milroe a little bit. The Seahawks took him last year. I think somebody may be able to take him and try to do something with. But, some Klubnik and Nussmeier and those guys, they'll go higher than you think. I think these guys are going to go fourth round.
I think we have 2 first-round picks, quarterbacks picked in the first round, and I think that's it, right? Does anybody think there could be 3?
No, I don't think
it'll probably be 2.
Yeah, it feels like 2 to me.
2.
When did Shuck start climbing?
Pretty late.
Right around the combine. Senior Bowl.
I thought that was after the combine that he started climbing.
No, there was the interviews because McShay came on like this week last year for us.
Yeah.
And he was the one that was like, hey, I had the big, long, hour-long conversation with Shook. He's going to start flying up draft boards, and then it started to ascend.
I don't know. I think I agree with you. I think Nussmeier and Allen, or Drew Aller, are both going to go way before the 5th round.
Day 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody going take one of those dudes because they're going to say, well, if we had a high grade on him his junior year, then evidently there's some stuff in there that we can move around and try to fix.
There was talk that Aller would be the number 1 overall pick this year.
Right.
There was talk that Aller would have been the pick at 2 last year, and he stayed in the draft.
Yes.
Aller and Nussmeier both were.
Nussmeier too.
Were both.
They had Klubnik going number 1. Like during the year they had like Klubnik going to the Browns number 1, and how far we fall.
No kidding. In both cases,
it is crazy. All right, let's get to some non-combine stuff. But this is a
wait. Can I ask one question to Jason?
Oh, shoot. Yeah,
Did you get a chance to talk to Monken at all?
Not privately.
But you saw the interviews.
Yeah, I was there. For the
I just want to make this point quickly before we move on. It is such a breath of fresh air to have a head coach that talks.
Well, I said
I love it.
Last week he was grinning from ear to ear as he went around to the different.
Was he really?
Stadium, because he did.
So he's comfortable in that setting.
He's just he's waited his whole life for this.
Yeah.
He just thought he climbed up on the podium. He's like, man, I got Mike McDonald over there and I got Mike Vrabel over here. This is pretty cool.
That is awesome.
And so he did the podium, and then he did the private scrum with the local writers, and then he went to Kim Martin at ESPN, and then. I don't know where he went after that. They took him to the car wash of Rich Eisen. I'm sure Aditi probably got him for CBS. So they just had different.
Right. And
he was just grinning and smiling.
Every interview I saw of him, I thought he was transparent, forthcoming, funny. The story about the Shador horse head, I laughed the way he told that story. I read the story in text, and I'm like, God, this is kind of macabre. Has Shador not seen Godfather?
Right.
Then I saw Monken tell the story, and I'm like, oh my God, I love that.
And this dude, Jay, he reminds me, I just was smiling because he reminds me of the old school football coaches that I grew up, coaching me. They curse every other word. They're not nice to you on the field. They will tell you how they feel. And they're
Which is
very
what it should
on
be, by the way.
and they talk football. Like, you know, I love the fact that he's like, what are you guys looking for in offensive lineman? He's like, well, listen, you know, I need a guy, you know, it's about the putty and the shape of him, and you know.
Where Stefanski's answer would have been, well, you know, our scouting department's going to look into it and we'll take the best available athlete.
Hey, there's
like, oh.
Sometimes, look, I always say, sometimes it's all about winning. If Stefanski would have won and he didn't tell us nothing, we'd be like, yo,
Bill
great.
Belichick was a D- in the news conference.
Yes.
And the only reason why I give him a D- is because I always felt like I was watching the media walk through a lot of landmines.
Right.
And you never know when one was going to go off. Whatever tripped Bill the wrong way. Mm-hmm. And that was the only reason we used to carry his news conferences live when I went to the Sports Center division, and I used to tell our producers, why are we doing this? I'd rather watch paint dry. And they said, because there's a chance that Bill will go off, and you never know when, so you're there. So he was a D-. He said nothing, but there was a chance he could say everything. But Kevin Stefanski was an F, a solid, in-cement F, because he never went off. He never had a point.
You could not.
He never had a take.
You could not crack him.
He didn't. It was literally like name, rank, and social security number, or you know, whatever. That was it. He didn't give any info.
I feel like you can drop him off in an undisclosed location as a CIA agent.
You never figure out where he's from.
Ever. And then
Put bamboo sheets up his fingernails.
No, he just sitting there.
I am Kevin Stefanski.
Waterboarding, nothing, bro. I'm just.
And so to get to this point where Monken is like interacting with the media with a smile on his face and giving real, tangible answers. I always remember, this won't mean anything. If you haven't cut sound bites for TV, you won't really understand this. Radio people might. You cut the sound clips, and they can be anywhere from 10 seconds to 30 seconds. If they're really good, you'll let it breathe for 45 seconds. Now, it has to be great, but because, you know, you got limited time, so everything has to be. I don't think Channel 3, I've been here for almost 7 years now. I don't think we ran a soundbite over 15 seconds from him in the entire time he was here.
Yeah.
Because he just never moved the needle.
Yep.
I will say this. If you guys want to know, when you go watch when this training camp comes.
I can't wait.
You're gonna have Monken talking every day.
Are we gonna be Hard Knocks?
Deshaun Watson gets to talk.
No.
Shador Sanders is talking. Miles
new
Garrett
coach.
is talking.
We can't.
Like there's every day you could go to camp and you gonna get something from somebody.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a lot.
You're
of
gonna
fun.
get something.
It is going to be fun. All right, guys, let's get to our next topic. G. Bush is going to do an Ultimate Brown show this week with the latest from the Combine and all things on the Browns. So make sure you tune into our YouTube page whenever G. Bush puts out his next episode.
It might be today. It might be today.
Make sure you hit the like button, the subscribe button, so you get a notification when that goes live. Non-related Combine news, but rumors from the Combine bring us the latest in smokescreen season, guys. The latest report from ESPN, Dan Graziano and Jeremy Fowler teamed up to put out a notes, rumors, this is what we're hearing column. And in regards to Malik Willis, this is what Jeremy Fowler and Dan Graziano had to say. Quote, expect at least 2 and possibly several teams to be involved on Willis. Miami is definitely in, a source said. Arizona is coming to market too, but it doesn't seem likely that Willis will end up in Cleveland. Friend of the program, Zach Jackson, who has told us he believes the Browns are in play for Willis, responded to that article saying, remember, after the 2022 Combine, the Browns told everyone they were all in on Baker Mayfield, only to trade for Deshaun Watson a few weeks later.
Right.
So,
but can I make one distinction about that?
Of course.
I think they were all in at that point. It was when Deshaun Watson became available that they were not all in on Baker Mayfield. And I don't remember the timeline of that.
That was before I got to Cleveland, so I cannot.
Yeah, I feel like it was after the Combine.
The relationship was already very much
It was fractured for sure.
by the Combine. And when the no bill came back from the grand jury is when teams started lining up for Deshaun.
And I felt
I don't
like that was post-Combine. I could be wrong.
I think
regardless of the
right
timeline
before.
on Baker.
Yeah, I don't want to get
because we could go way down that.
But
rabbit hole.
a lot of things happen in this season that can change a team's mind on a player.
So the question I wanted to ask is just first and foremost, where you guys stand on the latest back and forth on the Malik Willis stuff, and then 2, it is the heart. This is the thick, deep depths of smokescreen season. how should a Browns fan proceed with all the news and reports that may on a day-to-day basis go back and forth over the next couple of weeks before free agency and the draft? Jay, you haven't been on with us for Malik Willis discussion, so where are you on Malik Willis?
I watched Malik Willis play a couple times this year. I did the crazy thing that I spoke of earlier today. On Friday, I went on YouTube and I watched Malik Willis highlights, and I'm like, oh, we got to
give me him
right. Call him right now. We have to have this kid here right now. And then I went and looked at his stats, and his stats were just okay. But what I learned from watching his highlights is he can make every throw. And that's something that if you're evaluating a quarterback, particularly one that's played in the league, and you're thinking about bringing him in, you've had an opportunity to see him in this league and to make the assessment as to whether or not he can make every single throw. I think he can make every single throw. But I just don't know that I'm as excited about bringing him as the guy, because I think you're only going to bring in one more, right?
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to do what they did last year.
Oh, dear God in heaven, I hope not.
So, yeah, let's hope to heaven they don't. So it's basically like when you're going shopping and you have a budget, you're going to look at a lot of things that you'd love to have, but they're out of your budget. And then when you start looking in your price range, there's really not a ton available. So I don't know yet that he's going to be the best available to bring in for next year. I know after I watched his highlight tape, I loved what he could do. And there were enough throws. It was like a 20-minute tape. And he looked really, really good in all of that. I would say this. We got a new guy at the top of the food chain in Monken. If we bring him in, if they'd have brought him in last year, I would have said, based on track record, I don't think this guy's going to be the guy, because they got it wrong more than they got it right. But if Todd Monken signs off on him and says, I really like him, I like his skill set, I can work with that, then I would at least give it a grace period and say, let's see, because we really don't know what he would look like here.
You know, I looked at this angle, McNuggets, and I never really thought about it. You know, I looked at it more of a financial ramifications in terms of how much it costs. I looked at it in terms of, okay, this, how, the sample size, how much he played. For me, I never looked at it from the agent angle. The fact that him and Deshaun Watson have the same agent, I'm not saying that that's a deal breaker, but if you, Mulligetta, your job is to resurrect, and I do think that that's what they're trying to do. I think the Cleveland Browns, as well as Deshaun Watson, are trying to rehabilitate his career, and I think that they do want him to have the best opportunity to put himself in a position, even if he doesn't win the position, maybe he could be a backup quarterback and still play in these preseason games and show something. And so if you, Mulligetta, why would you bring your new client, which is Willis, over to the Browns, which is canceling one of your other clients out? I think that what they're doing is which is really a masterful job. I think that they've dominated for a person who only plays 6 games. I think his agent has done a tremendous job of keeping his name front row and center, and positioning him as the number one guy on the market. And for him to be mentioned to get $30 million, congratulations, bro. If you get that, that is tremendous.
He's not getting that. I know the cap went up, and I know the 30 is,
that's the number they keep floating around.
That's the new 20.
Yeah. But
man, if he gets $30 million.
Jay, I said this on Ultimate Browns. I said this is a team who said they wouldn't give Baker 30.
Yeah, but think about how much things have changed since then.
But prices have gone up.
But prices have gone up. The salary cap has gone up exponentially.
But at least Baker he broke a record. He won. He led you to a playoff game.
Sure.
He won some games. He was the first overall pick.
Hey,
and
you're dogging the wrong guy here.
Yeah,
they were idiots.
They didn't give him 30, but now we're giving him 30, and he plays 6.
I think 30 is the new 20. That's what 20 used to be.
Inflation.
And you know what? Now guys are making 45. So it used to be 30 was the bar.
Yeah. I just think both of his clients been on the same roster. I think they're using the Browns.
Jay, do you think that matters? I'm sitting here trying to think. I'm sure it's happened where agents have had more than one quarterback on the same team. I know it has.
It's a factor, but I don't think it's the deciding factor. Like if
your job is to get everybody paid.
And I've been pretty consistent on that. I don't think Malik Willis is coming here, but if that's in the best interest of Malik Willis, you as the agent
have to facilitate
have
that.
to do what's in the best interest. Now, it doesn't always work that way.
No.
But
if Cleveland is, if they're the highest offer, then he comes to Cleveland.
then yeah, but
regardless of who his agent is.
I don't think this is going to happen. But I think it's a factor. But Deshaun has been through so much and has been so physically broken. I don't know how. I mean, he got his money. It's all guaranteed. So if you have the opportunity to give that money to make that money for another client, then I think you do it. It's 1 year left on Deshaun anyway, and then he can figure out whatever's next in his life in terms of if he's going to another team.
Can I ask you a structural question on the NFL? I read this, and I'm not sure. I think I know how I feel about it, but I wanted to get your take on it. Did I see that the Browns are petitioning the league?
Yes.
To be able, I want to have a quick conversation about that for a second.
We talk about that on Friday.
I believe I read this right. I think I saw that the Brown is petitioning the league to be able to trade assets more than 3 years out.
5.
They want 5 years out.
Yeah.
I couldn't help but laugh when I read that, and here's why. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think that rule exists so teams can't spend themselves into oblivion.
Mortgage their future.
Which is exactly what the Browns are doing. And so now it's like going to a bank and saying, I can't afford this house at 30 years, but I bet I could afford it at 50 years, so I'd like to take a 50-year mortgage. There's a reason they don't write 50-year mortgages. To me, that feels like exactly what the Browns are doing. And I hope the league says no to this, because if they don't, we'll start trading picks 5 years out.
Yeah.
And then we're going to dig ourselves into a 10 or a 12-year hole.
Yeah, we talked about this last week. I'm totally against it because
Is the league, do you think?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I would tend to think that the league, I don't know who makes that decision. If you take it before the owners and the owners vote.
Well, I would think it would be an owner vote.
And then owners, who knows what the owners are going to do.
A lot of the owners might say, yeah, that's cool. Only one team's going to do that, and we'll continue to raid them.
Yeah, because the point I made on Friday is the average length of the general manager's career is like 3 years.
Yeah.
So you're spending the next guy's money.
Yeah, and I can. And
I think it's a terrible idea.
I do too.
They let
Good.
them
I
get it
thought
off
that's how I felt.
They
about
let
it.
them get it off in basketball.
I know they did, and I think it's a mistake in basketball.
Well, basketball, you have to have a pick every other year. You can only trade a pick every other year.
Yeah, but can't you trade out like 7 years?
But again, you still are going to have a pick every other year.
Yeah. Right.
So that's
and the draft, by the way, I think the draft is a lot less influential in the NBA than it is in the NFL.
Well, at the top of the draft, it's everything in the NBA. Like you draft the top 5 if you got a guy.
But as we've seen, there's no surefire way to make sure you're drafting in the top 5.
No.
I mean, even if you get entered in the lottery, there's a very good chance that you don't pick where you're supposed to pick.
People still got a 14. What's the best 14% chance?
I don't remember since they changed the odds.
It's 14%.
Yeah.
I mean
that's kind of a crapshoot.
And now they're trying to get rid of that too.
I know they are. And I'm not necessarily opposed to what they're trying to do.
But no, I agree with you guys. It seems to me, at least, less and less likely that the Browns are going to pay up the money it's going to cost for Malik Willis.
So we all are kind of in agreement that Malik Willis won't be
I
here.
don't think it's really realistic.
By the way, I worked with both those guys, Graziano and
Fowler.
Yeah, Fowler. They're both plugged in, as you know. They talk to a ton of people. But you said it, Mike. This really is. I wouldn't even call it. I think this is smokescreen season. I think the week before the draft is flat bull-faced lie week season, because that's when they just will stand in front of you and knowingly tell you mistruths because they're trying to put other teams off the scent.
It ain't just that week.
Yeah, you're right. It's probably like the month before the draft, or 2 weeks at least.
I mean, did you see? Even we talked about the Carnel Tate thing. Like, did Schefter come back and say on Twitter? Somebody said that actually, be truthful, some teams had him at a 4.4.
Yeah. That was the most cop. I like Schefter. That was copy and pasted directly from an agent.
I said, bro, since when do we start going against the electric?
Yeah,
everybody knows that is the holy grail.
This means nothing
at all.
Absolutely nothing.
Like the laser is like
it doesn't lie.
It's almost like
it doesn't measure reaction time either because it goes on first movement, right?
Yeah, it's almost like when a cop pulls you over and says, I caught you going 78 and it's 55.
Well, my speedometer said.
But it don't matter what the speedometer is talking about. I said it, so there it is.
When you are beholden to agents, this is what you get.
Man. Yeah, it is a slippery slope. And the thing I like about Dan, and I think Jeremy too, is they talk to agents, but they're getting their stuff from team sources.
Yeah.
And not that Adam doesn't, but Adam is so plugged into the agent world that a lot of it, you have to sift through what's propaganda and what's reality.
Some people's like, good, make it a 4-6. Hopefully it gets to me.
Sure.
Yeah. Because some people want it.
Did you hear? Excuse me. Did you hear Brandon Beane on the broadcast? He was on when Tate was running. He's the general manager of the Bills.
Yeah.
And very, very, very sarcastically. And when it gets aggregated and put on Twitter, people thought it was serious. Could not have been more. Goes, wow, that's slow. Would be a shame if he fell to the late 20s.
But that universe picked up on it and
he was getting
catch
crucified
the sarcasm
online
in it.
because the aggregation of it was there was no
Dave,
context.
You know what made my heart feel really good this weekend? Is hearing Rich Eisen, who personally I like, but as a Michigan guy, I think sometimes his takes are skewed by his fandom.
Yeah,
whose aren't. But I loved hearing him have to absolutely glaze over the Ohio State guys' combines, but in particular Styles.
Yeah, it was
he basically, I think it was him, if I'm not mistaken.
He was comparing them
he
to
said it's the greatest combine I've ever seen.
Of all time.
Now think about that. He's been at the NFL Network since I started at ESPN, which was 2003. So he's been there 22 or 23 years.
Yeah.
He has seen some combines.
Yeah.
And he sat there and he had to say the greatest combine that he's ever seen was from a Buckeye who probably wasn't in the top 2 or 3 Buckeye draft picks going into the combine.
Now I
loved that.
He was in awe. I think a lot of people was in awe of the fact that how did Ohio State not? I don't understand. Like when you have him and you got Arvell Reese and you got Caleb Downs and you got Jeremiah Smith and you had Carnel Tate. It's crazy at the fact that they had all these dudes. I will say this. I don't think anything changed the draft stock of a lot of them. I think they are what they are. I think this don't change much for most people.
Corey, my son, was in Indianapolis for this past week because the Big Ten Track and Field Championships were there. Mm-hmm. So he had a bunch of his jumpers were competing. And I thought he had a really good point. When I brought up, I go, man, this is an indictment on the entire Ohio State coaching staff, Ryan Day in particular. And Corey said, Dad, it's really not. And I'll tell you why. And I thought this was a smart point. He said, Miami had the low-key secret weapon in football. You can have great receivers, you can have great running backs, you can have great quarterback play, all of that. But their depth on the defensive front was so great. It was the strength of their team. And he said, what we did was countered by the kryptonite for what we do. The defensive line disrupted. They got after things. They made our quarterback see ghosts. And everything devolved from there. And that's how Miami damn near won a national championship. They had good skills position talent, but their talent up front defensively looked like an NFL, a good NFL defensive front.
Both of their ends are going to be first round picks. They might not go.
Yep.
They're tremendous.
They'll be
tremendous.
Yeah.
And again, that goes back, and I'm not making this statement for college either, but I think in the NFL, I've been saying for a couple of years that here comes the defense, boys. And I think the last 2 Super Bowls have sort of, bore that out, particularly this last one. I think what Miami's strategy was you come at us with all these 5-star first-round draft pick wide. That's cool, but your quarterback's going to be on his ass most of the day, so it's not going to matter.
And he's young.
And he's young.
And he's young.
So funny is that's the exact flip of the 0-2 title that game between Ohio State and
100%.
Miami. When Ohio State's defensive line dominated.
Oh, my God.
And absolutely buried Ken Dorsey.
They did.
Yeah, man.
And that defensive front immobilized all of those star pieces, and their defense was good. Yeah. Their defense, but when you look at the talent, the NFL talent that they had on that defense, they would have damn near had to pitch a shutout to win the game.
And they ran the ball very well.
They did.
Just like,
yeah.
So that's
got to
the
give them
blueprint.
credit.
All right, guys, let's pivot, talk a little Cavs and a little Guardians to wrap up today's show. Reminder, hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. We got 3,200 people watching us right now. We don't have 3,200 likes, which means you need to hit the like button. Help us out. Even if you don't like us, hit the like button. It costs you $0.
What's the line you use? It's free.
Exactly. It's free. So hit the button. We appreciate y'all, and follow us on social media as well. Cavs split a pair of games this weekend. Let's start with the win in Harden's return yesterday. Then we'll get into the Friday night collapse against the Detroit Pistons. But James Harden did return to the lineup after missing 2 games with that fractured tip of his right thumb. The Cavs were able to sneak past the Nets. Didn't play great, but a win's a win. Jay, what'd you take from Harden's return to the lineup? And afterwards, he did say, yeah, it hurt, but if I could dribble, I could play.
It was, good to see him back. And I thought he was okay. He wasn't great, but and I knew that there had to be some discomfort there. We've all injured our fingers and played sporting events injured with those injured fingers, and it's not easy. It's painful, especially when you're a basketball player and the ball is in your hands as much as it is in James Harden's hands. I felt like it was more of a struggle than it should have been, but they pulled it out, which was good to see because I felt they should have won the previous 2 games that they choked away. Although I will say, and I know that you wanted to talk about this, the NBA officiating, if you don't want guys to talk about games being fixed in the NBA, don't have the kind of absolute disaster like you did Friday night.
Give me 5 minutes.
Oh, my God.
We're going to get into all of that. Just
okay.
Focus up. Yeah.
I don't think we need 5.
2 minutes.
So my take was, I think they should have won Friday night against the Pistons. I thought the foul on the shooter on the 3, my goodness. On one hand, you could say, why are you fouling? But on the other hand, it was just a great play by the Pistons to get that shot off. They never should have lost that game. I think their win probability was 99.1.
I got the numbers for you. Don't worry.
It was insane. And here's the other thing. We're playing without our 2 best players, and we took a Pistons team. We should have beat that Pistons team. Yeah. I think that they're in a really good spot. If you look at their last couple of losses, the Thunder and then the 2 most recent losses, I don't think there's a bad loss in there, really. So I think this team is going to be just fine. Not worried about them. Not worried about seeding one bit. I hope we get the 4 so we can see Detroit in the second round.
Jason, what'd you make of Harden's return? Then we'll get to all the Pistons stuff, I promise. But just Harden's return yesterday.
Encouraging to be playing through what he's playing through. We were driving back yesterday from volleyball, so I just watched the condensed highlight thing. I thought he looked fine. Yeah. And so, hopefully this is a nothing. We talked about it last week. Hopefully it's something that he can just muddle through it because it's a non-shooting hand, that it's not really going to be a factor this year. The fact that he was able to return as quickly as he did was encouraging. I thought he'd miss a little bit more time than that. So, looked like himself to me.
Yeah, it's crazy. The one thing that people can say about James Harden is, you can say whatever you want about his playoff struggles, but the one thing you can't say about James Harden is if he is able to walk, talk, and and take care of daily living tasks around the house, he is playing.
He plays.
He plays, and he wasn't wearing no crazy brace or nothing. Shot the basketball. He hit I think he hit 3 or 4 threes. I just think that when I watch him play with Jared Allen, and to me the takeaway was, I listened to Jared Allen's post-game conversation. He's like, yeah, we didn't play very well. We didn't like the energy we came out, and it sounded like he was disappointed in the way that they came out and let that team hang around a little bit, and they pulled it out the end or whatever. But I just find it that Jared Allen is playing with a new sense, a new lease on life that James Harden has gotten here. I mean, just the level of confidence that he has when he's shooting around the basket.
Double every night.
He's not missing. He's a guy on the pick and roll. He's stepping up. He's hitting his free throws. He's become a real weapon on the offensive end of the floor, and he's just finishing everything. I looked at James Harden or whatever the case may be. I loved it. Sam Merrill, again, hitting some big threes, hitting big shots. Mobley, 13 rebounds. That's a nice bump for him. So, they should have beat that team handily, but it happens when you're in a season. I like what they did, but the thing that irked me the most, and we'll probably get to it, is the Pistons game. I'm like, man, come on, man.
Let's do it. Let's get to the Pistons. Reminder, Ultimate Cavs Show will dissect the rematch against the Pistons, which is tomorrow night. Later in the week, it'll be on our YouTube channel. Make sure you tune in. All right, now to Friday's game. What a game it was. 3.5 hours.
It was a good game.
That was
the
wild.
longest game ever basically.
Is that counting the 15-minute
Yes.
delay?
Yeah.
All the above. It was a 3-hour, 37-minute game. It went to overtime. There was 50-plus fouls. And after the game, and we'll get into the should you foul, should you not foul up 3 in a second, the NBA put out its final 2-minute report. And in that report, Steve, if you want to take this full, the NBA admitted to missing four calls, making 4 incorrect calls in the final 2 minutes of regulation and the final 2 minutes of overtime. 3 of those 4 calls went against Cleveland. The first on a Jalen Tyson turnover. It was later determined Jalen Duren fouled him. Should have been a foul, not a turnover. Jared Allen's 6th foul was the block on Duren, which they called a foul. The Cavs had no challenges, were unable to challenge. The NBA then said...
Which is stupid, Mike. Why do you lose your challenge if you're correct?
If you
They were
was
2
right.
for 2 on challenges in the game. You're only allowed 2, Jay.
I know, but that's stupid.
No,
That
I
is
agree.
stupidity. You should be punished for incorrectly challenging a call.
I believe it's for pace of play.
Okay, fine. It was 3 hours long. Get it right.
I'm with you.
That's got to change. I'm sorry.
with you.
That rule is stupid.
So they said that was a clean block. Should not have ejected. That was Jared Allen's 6th foul, by the way. So
That was an easy turnover, or overturn, too.
And they weren't able to replay it.
I know it, but it would have been an easy overturn.
In overtime, Sasser had a turnover. That gave the Cavs the ball back with 15 seconds left. They said that was a foul. It should have been Detroit ball instead. So that's the one that benefited Detroit. And then Merrill, who on his final 3-point attempt there in overtime, they did not call a foul. It should have been a foul.
Yep.
Could have changed the entire complex of the game. I hate the fact, it drives me nuts, that the NBA is trying to say, hey, we're accountable, but there's nothing you can do in the aftermath of releasing the 2-minute report.
I agree with that.
It drives me nuts.
I agree with that, okay, but here's the alternative, that you're not transparent. It would drive me more nuts if they never issued this report. At least we know now which officials suck, and there's some grading system. When the players play the game, there's something called a box score that is released. The second it's ongoing, you can follow it anywhere. If a player has an off night and he's 0 for 10, there's proof of that. I like the fact that this is holding refs accountable in some form or fashion. I would like to think that playoff assignments and how long you stay in the league has something to do with how good or bad you are night in and night out. So I like that they issued the report, but to your point, I think 2 things have to change. One, there has to be some accountability. If you want people to think that the games are real, then get rid of this nonsense. I mean, I'm sorry. I am not the conspiracy theorist these games are rigged. I'm not. But Friday night, I'm watching that game going, holy cow. Somebody with a whistle in their mouth have the Pistons. They need the Pistons to win. Because these calls were just too egregious to me.
This is very fixable. Just do like the NFL do. In the last 2 minutes, every call is reviewable.
Well, can you do every call? Because in the last 2 minutes, there's look how many fouls there are.
I mean, if you think about it, you don't have to do every single one of them. It's kind of like you know if it's a controversial play, right? It's a 6th foul, right?
Yeah.
That's very easy to look at and be like, is that a foul or not a foul? Or the Sam Merrill one, the 3-pointer, when they was in his landing zone was ridiculous.
Unbelievable.
If it's your last foul of the game, it should be automatically reviewable. If it's the foul that's going to foul you out.
Right.
It should be. To Mike's point, I know for whatever reason, NBA reviews take an eternity.
I know they take too long.
And it kills the momentum.
Did you watch spring training games at all this weekend?
Yeah, with the ABS.
It's as good as tennis.
Yeah.
It's taking 10 seconds, 15 seconds, it's done.
And NFL, it seems hit and miss with NFL. Some reviews are pretty quick, and some seem to drag on. If you got to fix the clock and put the ball back, it takes longer. But
the NBA
and the players, I mean, I haven't covered the NBA day to day in almost 10 years now. But when I was covering the league, players hated the last 2-minute report because LeBron used to say all the time, so what? Great.
Yeah, what's going to happen?
Now what?
What does the league do with that info? They have to decide playoff assignments because they're grading the officials.
Yeah, I do think it probably plays into postseason assignments and that. No one's going to lose their job because of the union, because of the officials union. So it's pretty hard. I mean, look at Angel Hernandez. It's pretty hard to get rid of.
Terrible.
Once you're in the union. It's really hard to get rid of these guys. But it'll impact pay raises, I would imagine.
Yeah.
And
I have a suggestion because this nonsense that we're out of challenges. Why? You challenged,
I
and you got them both
agree.
right.
What is it? It's football's like that, right? If you
No, I think you keep your challenge. If you're right, you're not charged a timeout.
That's what I'm saying.
In football, you get a third. If you're
Right. If you're right on the first two, you get a third.
I've got a way to
and
fix
again,
this
that's
in the
not
NBA.
even good enough because if why should you be punished?
It's
Because
not.
they keep screwing up.
Yeah,
Right.
that's on you.
Yeah, like especially if you've been right.
You're right.
What that tells you is there's a likelihood you're right again because
Right.
these officials suck. So here's what I want to propose. I think that you should only in the last 2 minutes of the half and the game. Even if you're out of challenges, you should be able to challenge anything. If you're wrong, it's a technical and the other team gets a free throw. Now you're only gonna do it if you're absolutely certain that you're right.
Yeah.
And the benefit of that is you're getting it right. Like this
that.
was a terrible outcome. It's not going to come down to a game. What are the Cavs out? 8? 7.5?
After yesterday, 7.5.
Okay. It's likely not going to have any effect on the 1 seed. But guys.
8.5, excuse me.
Okay. But what if they were 3.5 out?
Yeah.
And the difference now is 2.5 or 3.5. This was a game that clearly was taken from the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I'm not a guy that says that very lightly.
No, you're not.
And in my view, it was egregious. There were multiple things that the officials did in that game. Now, the Cavs could have a lot of this is on the Cavs, too.
Right.
They got to make their free throws, you win the game.
They've got to make their free throws.
You win the game.
So I'm not totally exonerating them. However, what I'm saying is those free throws, Mike, are irrelevant if they got the calls right. The Cavs win the game in regulation.
And if they make the free throws, we don't go to overtime.
Right.
And by the way, there was a couple of them that they did challenge, like when Duncan Robinson just grabbed Jalen Tyson and then fell down on his own, and then they called it off his own. I was like, bro, like, what are we doing here?
I don't know what they're looking at sometimes, Mike.
Listen, my biggest issue with the NBA is how long some of these games take. And some of the pointless review, and I like Kenny. Kenny challenges stuff in the second quarter that is so irrelevant, and I lose my mind every time because it automatically triggers a 3.5-minute timeout. I'm like, what are we doing? Like,
I know.
They're playing the Wizards in Harden's first
Not
home
only
game.
that, it's so early in the game. You can make up for that.
I know it drives
Save
me nuts.
these for at the end of the game when there's nothing you can do to make up for a bad call.
It drives me nuts. I actually, and I'm being serious, I'm in favor of just abolishing challenges. Just like if the ref makes a bad call, it's a bad call, but you just play.
I'm not good with that.
I know I'm in the minority, but the other part of the game that we have to talk about is the fouling up three. Now,
I hate
in case anyone missed it,
I hate it.
And we'll talk about it. Steve, give me, you can play 388 as we're talking. The Cavs were up 3 after a made free throw. Mobley missed the first, made the second. Up 3 with 6.5 seconds left. And Jalen Tyson fouls Dennis Jenkins right around the midcourt line. They end up making all 3 free throws. They send it to overtime. Gee, I heard you say you hate it.
I hate it.
Can I give you the numbers before you tell me why you hate it?
Go ahead.
And let me know if you still hate it.
Go ahead.
From a John Hollinger report in The Athletic, and Steve, you want to take 389 full here. This was from Christmas Eve this season to the beginning of the 2022 season. There have been 97 instances, where a team is up 3 with 15 seconds or less and they decided to foul. This does not include last Friday, by the way. This ended on Christmas Eve 2025. Teams are 95-2 in those 97 instances. It is a 97.9% win rate when you foul up 3.
Because
it obviously
they get 2
did not
shots.
work. What do you say?
You have to explain it.
Yeah, it's the difference between 2 and 3 shots.
Well, 2 and 3 shots. It was poor execution. Jalen Tyson got caught in transition, fouled the guy clearly in the act of shooting.
Yep.
But
it was a heads-up play by Detroit.
And give them credit. But the theory of fouling up 3 with that little time left has a track record of a 98%.
And we're in the analytical world where that means everything.
I think more teams should do it.
I do too.
I knew it blew up on the Cavs the other night.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I don't think teams do it enough. I think it depends on how much time's
and
left.
on the counter, then, I want to hear why you hate it. Because me and Earl dueled this out on the radio. Earlier in the season, if you remember, they were playing the Charlotte Hornets. And they were in the exact same situation. Up 3, Brandon Miller crossed up Darius Garland, hit a 3 in his face. And we came on the show the next day, and you weren't here. But we're like, why did you foul?
What's the time element here, though? Because I think that has a lot to do with this.
15 seconds and fewer was in the Athletic.
So how much time was on the clock with this?
They inbounded the ball with, I
7?
believe, 6.5 seconds.
Oh, heck no. No, I want to 6.5 seconds. So the context of it is
You want to play defense.
it's Jenkins. Cade Cunningham had fouled out. He has the ball. What I want to do.
He damn near made that too.
If it's 6 seconds, I want to put the onus on. I want to control my destiny. I don't want I want to play defense, and I'm going to say, if you, Jenkins, whoever you are, who's averaging 8 points a game, if you want to come up, make a move, shoot the basketball from 30 feet and make it, and send it to overtime, I will shake your hand as a competitor and say, I contested, we've pressured you up the court, you hit a miraculous shot, let's go to overtime. But what I can't do is bail you out. You ain't even got over half court, and now you got an opportunity to shoot three free throws. And guess what? You're at the whim of the official now, because now it's not about whether you fouled them. It's where or not they're going to say, if is it an emotion of shooting? Is it 3 shots? Is it on the floor? And we already have seen that they missed 7, 8, 10 calls. If this man hits this shot and it's Jenkins, now if it's SGA or if it's Brunson or if it's Luka, okay, I'm thinking, all right, we might, but not this at 6 seconds. I don't think you got enough time to even get a good shot.
6 seconds is a lifetime in the NBA. You can get up the floor easily.
Well, on the flip side of that, the Cavs had almost 5 seconds. So it's not like there was 0.1 and the game is going to be decided by those free throws or sent to overtime or not by those free throws. I thought the Cavs, they executed. I mean, they got the ball down the floor. I think it was Schroeder. Was it Schroeder that took the shot?
Oh, they got a halfway decent look with 5 seconds.
I thought they got a good look.
Eternity in the end.
And they missed.
It didn't go in.
So they missed with 5. I think you can get a good look. Hey, trust me, if he hits the shot and you playing good defense, I want to put it on myself. If he hits it, good, we go to overtime.
Yeah, it all depends.
If you tell me I'm going to do something, I'm going to win 95 out of 97 times, I'm going to do that.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
The issue was, so you let him get a head start, right? You either got a foul right on the catch.
Yeah.
And that's where Tyson messed up.
And
yes, he wasn't in
catch.
position to foul.
That was
the
great
catch.
awareness for him to see that it was
Yes.
coming and get the ball up.
Genius.
And it was
Because a lot of times they're not going to give
Now,
you that call. That's important, because a lot of times guys try and get but they start their shot too late.
Yeah.
And the refs won't give it to them.
Right.
I was a little surprised the officials gave it to him.
I was too. I think if they're on the road, they don't get that.
Well, he started the motion early. Like, he felt it coming. He knew what Jalen was doing. So
if Jalen pulls up, he takes literally a
half-court
here's
shot.
the thing.
Half-court shot,
The way it came out, the Cavs on 2 different occasions had opportunities to make 2 free throws to win, and they couldn't. And the Pistons had 1 chance to make 3 free throws, and they did. So kudos to Detroit. They executed. They hit their free throws. I don't know what our problem was from on the free throws.
season.
Yeah.
All season.
It has been a season.
And those are massive free throws. And
if I look at it, McNuggets, Jenkins is going up the sideline. If you just extrapolate that out and just say, all right, Jalen Tyson, he doesn't foul, and he rides him up the sideline, or he's dribbling, I don't see what look he has. What great look does he have if Jalen Tyson is...
Steve, play it again. And we're going to imagine here, but you have no one in help position because 3 guys are behind you. He's going to get a pull-up 3 with a guy on his hip, which is a tough shot. I'm not saying it's an easy look by any means. And you could take that chance, or you could foul him right on the catch. He shoots 2 free throws.
So he's right here. Like, okay, who's that flash into the corner right here?
25 is Marcus Sasser, I believe.
Listen, if Sasser and Jenkins, that sound like a law firm. If Sasser and the law firm of Sasser, Jenkins, and Johnson, if he want to hit this, guess what, Jenkins? You're the man for the day. Give him a Sunday, and everybody get free chalupas. But look at this. No.
It's a 96% success rate, G. It works if you execute it right. The Cavs did not execute it right.
Hey, man, you know what is a good success rate? If you play defense.
Or hit your free throws.
And hit your free throws. He didn't do either one.
Hit your free throws. That's the main thing.
That's what it comes
Mobley missed
down
one
to.
late. Craig Porter Jr. missed one late.
It's
Make
the
your
one
free
thing
throws.
in
You're never in
sports
that situation.
Never changes if you think about it.
Last little thing, though, from this game, and then we'll move on. I want to talk Guardians for the last 10 minutes. But the Cavs did have a chance to tie the game in overtime afterwards.
Yeah.
Schroeder and Mobley ran a pick and roll. Schroeder passed it to Mobley. Mobley kind of hesitated, pump faked. Now, it is worth saying Mobley played a very good game against Detroit. He had another double-double yesterday against Brooklyn. He's starting to kind of find his rhythm again. But he hesitated, he pump faked, and then put up a shot at the buzzer that came up just short. Someone, I forget who put in the group chat, I'm not sure, but said, just did not look like Evan Mobley wanted the ball.
He did not want to take that shot.
Yeah, that was
Did
me.
you? I don't know. Did you say?
I don't know
Jay?
if I didn't see it in the group chat.
It was me.
But I can just tell you, he did not want to take that
7
shot.
feet
It
tall.
was painfully obvious he did not want to take that shot.
Yeah.
It speaks to his lack of confidence in taking that shot.
And that's not for I thought he played well.
He played great.
But in that moment, he
That-
just for whatever reason he was not comfortable taking that shot.
Man, just like Greg Newsom picks in his thing, clutch 3-point shots at the buzzer is not Evan Mobley's thing.
No.
Like he didn't even look like he wanted no parts of that. He knew what it was.
What did he hit? Backboard, no rim,
Like, it was,
nothing.
I mean, there it is. You can see.
back in the day when we used to play on the
Backboard,
playground,
no rim.
we used to call you, you self-checked. You self-checked. We didn't have to put no shot hand up. You know, you was scared from Jump Street. That's not with his MO. But I will say this, speaking of scared. Hey, listen, Detroit, I'm just going to say it.
Yeah.
I'm not scared of none of y'all in the least. JB, you was looking like the old JB. Yeah, at the end of the day, it looked like it's one person, Cade Cunningham, and a bunch of dudes playing hard defense. That ain't gonna get it done in the playoffs, dog. You better find you another dude. If Durden kills you, that means he got 16 points and 12, 13 rebounds. He killed you today. I don't see the firepower. I'm not the least bit scared of Detroit. Yeah, they just don't, to me, they don't have enough well-rounded scoring. I don't think they can score the ball. Duncan Robinson can come off these screens if they want, but other than that, I am not scared of the Detroit Pistons.
The one thing that scares me about them is I don't know if this is true or not. It seems like they force probably in the top 5 in turnovers in the league, maybe top 3.
Number two.
They just and I'm sure the game looks a lot different if either Harden or Mitchell plays. At least I'd like to think that. We'll find out tomorrow night.
Hell of a rematch.
I want a 20-point thumping tomorrow night.
Under no circumstances, the number one game that I got to have in 2026, everybody knows it's the Falcons versus Browns. I got to have that.
Yeah, that's big.
So that's big. But this one right here, I need JB to get thrown out of this game.
That's a random request.
I need them to be getting smoked so bad. And they get, because JB, he be huffing and puffing. He never lets up on the refs. He never lets up on them dudes. I need them to come out here.
Pay dividends for him Friday.
And I've been meaning to ask you since you're a boater, where did the term boat race come from? When you got boat raced, like that's crazy.
Know.
Like
Great question.
I don't know.
Where did that? Somebody in the chat.
I thought that was like the Regatta Cup or whatever when they get out to a big lead and you can never catch them.
I don't know. I'm not sure the origin of that.
But it's just.
Do I have it right? What's that? What's the big cup race?
No, America's Cup.
America's Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, like where the boat race? Somebody hit AI because
I'm on it.
Because when you hear somebody got boat raced, it's just as fun. It's still funny.
Yeah,
I actually
is.
had somebody explain it to me one time. Something about you get out to a big lead.
So there's several origins.
Okay.
The Oxford-Cambridge race.
Wow.
It became famous because the boat race, the annual moving competition between Oxford and Cambridge. But in terms of slang of crushing someone.
Yeah, like it's just like that's the great thing about the
Here it is. American sports slang. A blowout is a lopsided victory. It's referred to as they were boat raced. The usage likely evolved metaphorically from rowing, one crew pulling far ahead and winning decisively.
There we go.
There it
Learned
is.
Something new.
Well, we need to boat race the doggone Pistons, and I need JB to at least get 1 or 2 technicals and thrown out. That's
It's going to be fun tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, Rocket Arena. Hopefully, Donovan Mitchell back in the lineup. I have the Donovan Mitchell tweet alerts.
Yeah, I was going to ask you
turned on.
about that. Do we know for sure that he's going to play or not?
Not sure. We'll find out tomorrow around 4 o'clock if he tweets hashtag let him know or not, because that is the indication from Donovan himself on whether
So that's
or not.
like the white smoke when they're voting on a pope.
Yes. Well, no, he tweets every game. If he's playing, he tweets hashtag let him know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's
Yeah.
the indicator that
So if you want to find out before the Cavs officially announce it, turn on Donovan Mitchell Twitter notifications because he will let you know himself. All right, one last topic to get to, guys. We're going to talk a little Guardians. For some extra Guardians talk, make sure you check out the Ultimate Guardians podcast with Zach and Bull. It's the best Guardians podcast in the land, and they're going to do another episode at some point this week. Zach is in Arizona. Bull is back in the building on Wednesday, so whenever that comes out, if you like and subscribe with the YouTube channel, you'll get a notification to watch it instantly. All right, guys, we're going to wrap up with our own Guardians talk here. ESPN predicted its American League All-Stars in 2026. The Guardians had 2, Jose Ramirez and Cade Smith. But if I set the line at 1.5, Jay Crawford, 1.5 All-Stars for the Guardians this year. Mm-hmm. Take the over or the under?
I'm going to take the over.
Is it the 2 that the ESPN predicted, or would someone else slide into that place?
A couple of years ago, David Fry was an All-Star, right? How many people in April of that year said, I got David Fry as an All-Star?
G. Bush was the
By
only
the way,
one.
David Fry yesterday made 2 incredible defensive plays. One was a foul tip that he hung on to for strike 3 that he had to it was I couldn't believe he made the catch. The other one was he shot down a runner for Colorado, and I can't remember who it was, but it was one of their speedsters. He did not look like he had Tommy John. His arm is on point, as strong as I've ever seen it. So I think Jose is kind of a rubber stamp. I think that Cade Smith has a very, very good chance to be an All-Star this year. But here's what we don't know. Quan is a very good player who's been an All-Star in the past and has had some borderline All-Star seasons also. Manzardo looks like he could be a breakout candidate to make an All-Star team this year. 27 home runs last year. He spent some time in the minors last year. Didn't they send him down for a while? Was that Manzardo?
Yeah.
I feel like he was sent down for a stretch.
No, I don't think he was sent down. He just wasn't playing every day.
Okay. I think he can hit 35 home runs this year. I've got him for 35 home runs. The other thing is, I just think it's so hard to predict. You don't know who's going to emerge. You don't know who's going to have a great first half of the season and make the All-Star game. The one thing that I will say, and I'm looking forward to going, I leave next Monday, I'll be in Goodyear. And the one thing that I'm most interested, maybe Zach talked about it on the show, I don't know. Somebody put a high priority on body shaping over the season, over the offseason. Brian Rocchio looks like he hasn't left the gym. Brian Rocchio's upper half looks like it belongs to someone else.
I had heard Manzardo.
Manzardo looks completely reshaped.
And Angel Martinez were the 2 that looked. I hadn't heard Rocchio. I'd heard Martinez and
Look
Manzardo.
specifically. Oh, Schneemann.
Yeah.
Daniel Schneemann looks like he's 20 pounds heavier, and it's all in his upper torso. And so I bring that up to say this. I think that, it's not a mystery that the Guardians can't hit home runs. And in today's baseball, if you can't hit home runs, you're not winning. Period, full stop. And I think that somebody in the front office, and I'm anxious to talk to Antonetti and others to see if this was this an individual thing or was this like a team guidance thing where they said, look, we want everybody that can to put on 10, 15 pounds.
20 years ago, Jay, this would have been a very tough thing for
Listen, I know there would have, because everybody would have said, take a test.
Daniel Schneemann is just an Adonis from the waist up.
What kind of horse testicles have you been taking?
Wait till you see Daniel
Shedeur Sanders sent him that horse head.
wait until you see Daniel Schneemann and Brian Rocchio. I'm telling you, these guys they're unrecognizable to me. I mean, now I don't want to make it seem like they're ripped. They're not.
I'm like, dang.
But it's a big enough. When you weigh 180 and you gain 20, it's
very noticeable.
That is very noticeable. That's 10 pounds or that's 10% of your body weight.
Especially if you was a base stealer before, and now all of a sudden you a middle infielder and you got 20 pounds. Like you over 20, you 200 now.
The one thing I noticed yesterday, I watched the Rockies game, and the lineup was almost all lefties. It was almost all lefties. Daniel Schneemann against a lefty ripped the ball down the right field line for a double. Like, I think that there were 2 so far just by looking. I mean, we'll find out when I get down there. I think that there was a real emphasis on the left-handed bats in this lineup to do what Josh Naylor did a couple years ago. Go into the lab and recreate yourself. Put the pitching machine, instead of having it throw straight down the middle, move it 8 inches to the right and angle the ball so it hits the outer left half of the plate. And then you can move it so it hits the inner right half of the plate. And I know I've done that in a machine that was movable for right-handed pitching. And like anything else, it's all relative. When you first see the ball coming from 6 feet from the middle of the rubber, you're like, oh my God, that's going to hit me. Mm-hmm. And you feel like you're facing Randy Johnson when Randy used to come with all those arms and you didn't know what to expect. And I probably swung and missed at the first 8 pitches. I'm like, I'm never going to be able to do this. But the more you do it, the more it becomes routine, especially if you know it's coming from that angle. Mm-hmm. You know that. Yeah. You don't know if it's going to be a fastball or an off-speed pitch. But these guys are professionals, and they work on stuff like this in the offseason. So I would have challenged all of them because we're a slight team. We've got a lot of guys who look like Stephen Kwan. Yeah. And by the way, I didn't notice a huge difference in his body. And some guys just can't put on weight. I went through a period in my life where I couldn't put on weight no matter how many calories I consumed in a day. I couldn't gain an ounce. But you can get better at certain things, and I think whatever Josh Naylor did, it worked. And it almost became his strength because he wasn't expected to hit that well against left-handed. If you want to play every day, and who doesn't? And they made this point during the telecast. I think it was because it was the radio team. I think it was Rosie that said it, but it could have been Hamilton. Said, who doesn't want to play every day? Everybody wants to play every day. But this is a case of careful what you wish for. Because when you play 162, you break down. Yeah. You're going to break down a lot more than if you're platooning and playing 110.
The question about the All-Star is, Jason, are they going to have enough at-bats and enough time? Because a lot of these guys might be splitting, especially in the outfield and right field and first base.
I hope that they're not platooning. I'm done with it. Over the platooning.
I hate it.
It's health more than platoon for me. If Valera and DeLauder are healthy, they got to play every day. I want them in the lineup every single day.
I do too.
And when you look at potential All-Stars, it's Hosey. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Cade Smith, that's an easy one. Relievers, if you're top of saves, a lot of times you go. I think Manzardo is a great pick for All-Star. Gavin Williams and Tanner Bybee, the top of the rotation. Bybee had a really disappointing year last year. I think this is a big year for him. And
I do.
I said last week, he's got the contract. How big of a year could it be, really? He's already got guaranteed money. But I've mentioned it before, I just think he was messing with his pitch mix a lot last year. Hopefully that he was able to look at the offseason, look at all the data, see what works, see what doesn't. What doesn't is his four seam. He doesn't have an overpowering four seam fastball.
No, he does not.
He's got really good secondary pitches. So if he leans into that, I've always been really high on Tanner, probably higher than I should be. But I'm going to hang in there again this year and say that he's a guy who could be an all-star candidate for him. So, and then there's always guys that come out of nowhere. I'm really bullish on Joey Cantillo. I'm not saying he's going to be an all-star.
Right.
I think Joey Cantillo, he's off to a rough start this spring. I just like his velo and being a lefty. I think he's in line for a big year too.
Got a great changeup too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to predict all-stars. Like I said with David Fry, I mean, nobody would have in their right mind would have said that he's going to be an all-star. He looked really good behind the plate. I'm interested to see how the catcher position pans out this year because I think this is probably it for Bo Naylor.
Yeah, he's got a hit.
He has got to be more productive at the plate.
With Fry being healthy now and able to throw.
Yeah, he looked great. He uncorked one yesterday that you'd have never guessed he was Tommy John.
He got that Tommy John velo increase.
Man, he had it. It is there. It was a beautiful throw. He got out from behind the plate in a hurry. It was a perfect on-the-money throw. The runner slid right into it. It was bang, bang, but it was a great release, great velo on the throw. I'm super excited. I always say this. I get blinders on because I love baseball so much, and I'm so happy that it's back.
Yeah.
I always squint and see things that aren't there. And I know they're not there. But, I just hope against hope sometimes that this is one of those magical years where they get more production out of everybody than they thought. The Valero thing, I watch his at-bats. It's so intoxicating, Jason.
His swing is phenomenal.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. He just can't stay healthy.
I know.
With both of those guys.
I know. DeLauder, I love both.
Yeah.
And I would love, I will say this, and I wish I could have seen it one more time. They put Quan in center yesterday, and there was a ball that I thought he should have had. I think he lost it in the sun because the first movement was here, and that slows you down because he's turning to run, and his first thing was here, and I think he was trying to block the sun because it can be wonky in Goodyear.
Yeah, it'll be an adjustment for him with angles and with everything else. But this
Look, imagine if DeLauder and Valero play and can stay healthy and play well, and we can put a Gold Glover in center field, my God.
And he may not be a Gold Glover in center, and that's okay.
He's not. He won't be.
And that's fine.
But yeah, that's fine.
He'll be above average.
One of the most.
His stock has gone down.
Most underrated aspects of a baseball player, if you put it for civilian, like first thing, if you go in an NBA stadium and you have to shoot a 3-pointer, you realize how far the 3-point line is back.
And how good those guys are.
And you'd be like, oh, that's crazy. But you put a regular civilian in the outfield and hit them a fly ball.
Nothing goes straight.
Like
everything has a tail.
Yep. Just to judge where the ball is. Like they hit the baseball, you got to judge it within like 0.2 seconds to even know where it's hit.
Yeah.
Let alone catch it in the air.
It's a skill set. Miles Straw was great at it. Contact off the bat.
Yeah.
Knowing, do you have to come in? Do you have to come out? Because if your first step is the wrong step, it's probably a hit.
And you have to take angles. And you have to judge the velocity of the baseball in the air while you're tracking. It's like, I don't know if it's more difficult than, catching a football when somebody's trying to tackle you is pretty hard too. But, baseball is just weird because you can miss it in the sun. The ball is white. It's it's weird. Shadows, all the above.
It's really difficult. I do think that if I had to bet on that, I would definitely take the over. Because to your point, I didn't even get to the rotation. I know you mentioned them. There's a strong likelihood one of those guys will have a good first half.
I would think so.
And will be named to the team. So
if it was 2.5, would you take the over on
I don't think I'd take
2.5?
2.5, no.
I figured everyone would take the under if I made the line at 2.5.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure if everyone would take the over.
3's tough. There's not a lot of teams that put 3 All-Stars.
You got to be a first place team, and you got to be
Tigers, Dodgers, Mets.
Yeah,
the thing is, like with Hosey, I said he's rubber stamped because a lot of this is popularity. When guys are voting in Milwaukee, they're looking at the players. They're like, oh, well, hell, Jose's always a great, even if he's having a bad year. We've seen that a million times where players are having bad years, but they get voted in on reputation. If you look at the Mets and the Dodgers rosters, there's 4 or 5 guys on there that you would say, oh, they're all-stars.
Yeah.
But are they?
And plus it sucks because you playing in April, man. Like in Cleveland, you're not hitting bombs in April. It's cold. The pitching staff may not even be warmed up. Heck, they don't even come back really to Cleveland until where they gonna start this year? Seattle?
Well, I think
Oakland,
is it their first 6 that's on the road, and then we come home. But then it's brief, and then we go for another long.
The park does play differently in April than it does in June.
Dramatically different.
Man,
well, the ball just travels differently.
It'd be cold
in 50 degrees compared to 90 degrees.
Them opening days, you have.
I can't wait for
long
baseball,
sleeves,
though.
all of it.
I am so excited for baseball, and I love that Stephen Vogt said what he said last year. We want to win the whole thing. It's our goal to win the World Series.
It'll be the last World Series for 17 years.
It's okay.
The work stoppage that is looming.
Yeah,
it's going to be the last World Series.
Did you
for a
see
while.
what the proposed? I don't even know if this was proposed. Someone reported what they thought the cap, floor, and ceiling would be.
Oh, I didn't see that.
It was
a gigantic gap. If the one I saw was the same.
Well, and there will be a gigantic gap. But I think it was the one I saw said that the floor would be between 140 and 160, which I welcome.
Yeah.
And the cap would be, I think, 260 or 280.
Hold on. So what are the Dolans going to do? You going to take out a loan, bro? Because if the floor is 140 and you spending like 50 or 60.
No, they'll end up spending 90 this year. When it's all said and done.
They're going to.
Won't they, Jay?
Yeah, I think they'll be around.
So
what are they going to do?
So you still owe 50. That's 50 more million.
My keys are in the car. Here, David Blitzer. There you go.
Yeah, that's right.
What they're going to do.
And that may well be why the Dolans are, selling that. Somebody said to me yesterday, I was talking to a friend about the game. He was watching it too, and he calls them the Dolan discounts.
Yeah.
But I do think you're right. By then, it won't be Dolan's problem. It'll be Blitzer's problem. But I say problem, but it's not a problem, and here's why. They can almost pay that with their revenue from TV.
Absolutely. Well,
so
they can pay it from the league office. With all the revenue streams from the league office and revenue sharing and everything else.
And that's
nobody will ever convince me that their payroll isn't covered by
Atlanta
baseball.
Next year. I wish ask Bull about this week. There is something going on in the sale with the Braves where they have committed to, or they've been ordered. I can't remember what it was, and it could have been a divorce. Maybe it's an asset in a divorce. I'm not sure what it is. I know Bull will know. I've heard and read a little bit about this. But next year, the Braves are going to disclose their financials. This is groundbreaking, guys.
Yeah.
This is earth-shattering.
How did this happen? Like
They don't have to report. They're publicly or they're privately owned companies.
But it's in a divorce proceeding, so they want to know the assets, right?
I shouldn't have said that.
Okay.
I don't know why, but I know this. The Braves have to show their financials next year.
Some way, somehow, okay.
And that's going to be the linchpin to all of this changing. Because right now, the owners are sitting on a mountain of money that we don't know how big it is. We don't know what it is because they don't disclose it. And the union for years has been trying to say, they've been saying, open your books. Let us see your books.
What body are they showing this to?
I believe it's something court related. It's going to be made public.
So it has to be legal.
All I know.
So they can't fudge the numbers.
Yes.
No.
Okay.
So I think the reason that's going to change is it's going to put the onus on these small market teams that cry small market. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati to a lesser extent,
Miami.
Cleveland, Miami. And Miami's
out.
not even a small market, but they have all said, we don't have the cash. We're a smaller market. We don't have a deal like the Dodgers have. The Dodgers TV deal is ridiculous and how much money they make. So what this is going to do when the Braves are a mid to large market squad, and they spend money, but when they release their numbers, it's going to send shockwaves through the game one way or another. I think it's going to be higher than we've ever imagined. And what that's going to do is put the onus clearly on teams like Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Milwaukee, even Detroit, Kansas City. Guys, do you know St. Louis is probably one of the best baseball towns in the United States? I'd say they're top 3.
Oh, for sure.
In fan base. They are below the Guardians this coming year in payroll.
How?
They may be dead last. I saw, because that number always changes. I saw a list that had I think it had the Cardinals 28th or 27th.
They were below the. Try to find it for overtime.
Now think about this. This is a Tiffany, a cornerstone of Major League Baseball. What they've said is we can't compete with this. We've got competitors that are spending $4 for every dollar we spend. So we're just not going to spend.
I don't understand.
And when you lose a city like St. Louis, that's a cornerstone. That's whenever St. Louis is in the playoffs, it's always one of the best ratings that you've ever seen in postseason because they go to games, they love the sport, they watch the games on TV. They are very knowledgeable baseball fans. And basically the front office in St. Louis has said, we give.
Yeah.
So it's coming, a floor and a ceiling, and I think that's going to change dramatically the way we watch baseball.
All right, Super Chats for 2 minutes before we head over to overtime. JB Hoop says, I don't know. I think Carson Beck and Ty Simpson both go in the first round. Ty 16 to the Jets. Beck to Pittsburgh at 21.
I don't think Carson Beck's going in the first round.
Craps Teacher says, which former Cleveland coach is in the best position after leaving Cleveland? Tito, JB, or Kevin?
Wow.
I mean, JB.
Right, JB. They're the one season.
Second best record in basketball.
Got a young superstar.
He does.
Underrated, too.
Sly says, since making the ALCS 2 years ago, Guardians have done absolutely nothing to improve the team. No other team gets away with it. It's crazy.
It's very
Bill
true.
Rodewald says, fifth round seems like a perfectly affordable cost for a serviceable veteran on the offensive line. Sly also says Pistons can't shoot, no turnovers, no Cade, 5 seconds to go full court against a good defensive team. Everything can't be analytic. And Hakeem Labunga says,
that was your argument.
On Tyvis' behalf of the Combine, #Go Bucks. Ricardo Regaldo says you guys should check out Stefanski's interview on Part of My Take where he talks about why he doesn't answer the media's questions. Did you guys see that, by the way?
I did.
No, I saw that he addressed it, but I didn't watch it, and you know why?
Because he didn't answer anything.
Because they said he's not going to say anything in that either.
He actually was pretty funny.
I saw the first half. I didn't see the second half.
What did he say? What's his reason for not answering the media's questions?
Jason, did you hear that part?
He just he tries
a strategic advantage.
He just tries to keep the focus off him.
Oh, okay.
He basically said,
but you're the head coach, so don't be a head coach then. Be an offensive coordinator.
And I actually think by doing that, the attention becomes more on him because we talked about ad nauseum how he doesn't say anything. And when you win, you can get away with not doing that. When you lose,
you cannot.
It it becomes a talking point.
And you know
I
what?
tell
It's
everybody,
admirable that he doesn't want to steal the spotlight from the players, but you are the head coach. The buck stops with you.
He said, I was trying to rack my brain. He said when he comes off the podium, the first thing he would say is, what's the headline? Because what you don't want to do is create a headline. And that was pretty obvious by the way that he carried himself.
The headline is we cannot lose to Kevin Stefanski and the Falcons. Let's get it going. We should be working out conditioning 5:30 a.m. right now.
Breaking every rule in the book. 3 days.
No, listen.
Full contact. 6
Listen,
days a
we
week.
having unofficial meetings right now. I don't care. You got all y'all got to come back. Nah, we're not losing that game. Sorry, not going.
All right,
I'm with you.
We'll see you in overtime. 3 minutes.
What's our topic?
Peace.